What's happening, everybody? It's your buddy Izzy Presley here. This is another fucking podcast. It is a Drunken Summit. And first half of the show, we will be remembering the late, great Randy Rhoads, along with Dimebag Darrell, John Lennon, and Razzle. I know you're expecting some kind of big green screen, me behind a steel cage. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, not tonight. Keeping it simple. So, first half of the show is myself and Troy Patrick Farrell from GILBY, CLARKE, and Tantric, and Rayen Belcher from Early Ray. Second half of the show, we are joined by Luis VILLEGAS from Heavy MELLOW, and how you Monsters of Rock Cruise folks know him as well. And then later on, Alex Kane. Sir Alex Kane of Enough's Enough joins the conversation. Life, Sex, and Death, Act, Tribute to Ace Frehley, Shark Island, the list goes on and on and on. So there you go. Second half of the show, we actually debate Diary of a Madman versus Blizzard of Oz, all in remembering the great Randy Rhoads. So here we go, kids. Lighting is awesome. It's all on.
Hi, this is Bobby Brown, and welcome to another fucking podcast.
My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
Who wants an orange whip? Orange whip? Orange whip? 3 orange whips.
So you're bored, are ya? I've come here to break your monotony. Let me have my piece, because I'm shooting with this one, folks. I don't care, man.
The unscripted, uncensored, loose cannon of commentary.
Why did you say that? Why? Why? You come out with stink like that? Poop. Your poop mouth. Poop out of your mouth.
See, son? Old legends never die. They just lose weight.
Like a legend and an out-of-work bum look a lot alike, Daddy.
I've got a midget friend, an albino friend, and another friend who thinks Lord of the Rings is real. Together we call ourselves the Unfuckables.
When time is in, let the fun begin.
Body touch.
God, you're an asshole, man.
I've never heard of Van Halen.
Hello, Hollywood. Hello, world. Hello, my loyal minions. It is good to see you. And as always, good to be seen. My name is Izzy Presley. And this is another fucking podcast, Drunken Summit style. Oh, we have a great panel lined up for you today. And, it might help if I hit record on the actual video. That might be a good start. That might be a good start. That would be a good start. So, yeah, here we go, man. Make sure you guys hit up all the social media at Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board, Twitter, Instagram, and the Facebook. And, of course, the show page is another effing podcast. On that show page, there is a PayPal link pinned to the top if you like what I do and want to contribute, being the holidays and all. Take care of your pal Izzy over here. izzypresley at yahoo.com is your PayPal. Venmo is at Real Izzy Presley, and CashApp is $ Izzy Presley. All this great new merch is available. The disgusting one, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to put that one out, actually, because this is a kicker. This is great, and I think I talked about this last week on the kind of a old school radio show style. It got a copyright infringement because they said it looks too much like Shawn Michaels. And I'm thinking to myself, Stevie Wonder can look at this and know this is not Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was the World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion of the world, and he was fucking ripped. I am neither. So, and I look like, as my colleague here, Troy Patrick Farrell, said, Sebastian Bach trying to take a shit is kind of what the face was. So yeah, we got all that stuff. And if you are watching on the video, these shirts that I have on right now, there is only a few limited left. So if you want one of these, we're blowing them out for Christmas, $20, including shipping. And that all those links are in the gimmick. You guys know the fucking deal. Let's say hi to a couple of the panelists who showed up on time. Still waiting on Sir Alex Kane. Luis Vegas would be here at 7. He actually has a guitar lesson right now. He's giving guitar lessons. He is a world-class flamenco player, so he is in demand. Troy Patrick Farrell from the Gilby Clarke Band. Yeah.
Shaking, man. This is my my first Izzy, another effing podcast panel weigh-in thingy.
Yeah,
so
it's
I'm excited.
actually, no, you were on a panel before when we did live, remember?
Oh, that's right. In LA, right? Yeah.
Yeah, back when we used to do the show live in front of an audience that was no audience.
That was no, that was fun, man. That was very cool. I remember doing it at that club or whatever. There was something going on. What was that event? Do you remember?
It was God, the bar is yeah, there was an event going on. Was that Ride for Ronnie that was going on at the same time? I think that's what it was. Yeah. And your show. Talk about your show really quick, your live show.
Yeah, so we do every Wednesday live between 2 and 5 on dirtyradio.fm. I have a show called This, That, and the Other radio show, and I typically try and spin a lot of new music, a lot of alternative versions of favorite hits from back in the day. Have a lot of guests come on tomorrow. I've got the always, let's see, I'm trying to think of the right word, spontaneous James Kotak.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then we've got Stu Mundell. For those that live in Los Angeles, Stu Mundell is a helicopter pursuit reporter, and this will be his second time returning to This, That, and the Other radio show on Wednesdays at dirtyradio.fm, 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Thank you for allowing me to share that.
Of course, I have been on this show, and so has one of our other panelists here, returning to another fucking podcast, Rayen Belcher of Early Ray.
Yeah, apple pie, man.
What's happening, everybody?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I appreciate you having me on, and I agree with you that Troy's show is awesome. I check it out quite often, and Troy, make sure you tag everybody and thank both you guys for having me on and let me run my mouth about my projects. But right now, doing good. Just I think like everybody else, waiting. We kind of put the brakes on the apple pie thing until we figured out, because there hasn't been any real hits during this COVID era. So I've just been hanging out, playing a few gigs where I can. My state is more opened up than California.
Lucky.
But so I'm just hanging out like everybody else, just waiting it out to see what happens. So,
wait, so
that's my story.
You mean to tell me that you're not going to get harassed by the police for walking outside?
What's crazy is I live actually in South Carolina, right? So it's a red state. And when I flew to California in October, which was the height of October of LA being open, I could not believe how closed it was. Oh, it's beyond nuts, and I don't want to turn this into that discussion because, people want to hear us talk about rock and roll, but there's no other way to tell you what I've been up to other than just waiting this whole thing out.
Yep.
But yeah, California is pretty wild, and I heard it's only getting wilder. And North Carolina is 10 miles from me, and it's just like California. So it's just, I'm just trying to hang loose, and when we can get back out and promote that record that we did. So
man, that's what it's all about, man. And yeah, it's Troy. It's great that you're doing a show. Then Rand, you said you're going to be starting a podcast.
I do a live stream on my Nerd Locations page.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes, but no, I don't have a podcast. No, you guys cover everything I would talk about anyway, all the rock and roll stuff. I dig both you guys' shows, man. So everybody make sure who's tuning in on my end, follow these guys because they're great.
Well, the cool thing about Rayen though is guys like you, we can pull from a lot of history and a lot of connections and dude, I swear that's Sebastian Bach.
Dude, what are you trying to say?
Oh man, but you've got a lot of great stories, and you got a lot of those inside track stories with your associations with Janie Lane and the War Camp and a lot of camps from back in the day. So it's great having you on. So there's a lot more history there than most would know about. So once we archive our shows at drummertroy.com, make sure you check out the Rayen interview because that's a good one. It's definitely a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
you were talking about James Kotak. I actually wrote, Abby hooked me up, and I wrote a few times with Rick Steyer. I don't know what he's doing anymore, but I know they were in Kingdom Come together.
Yeah, I believe Rick is back in Kingdom Come because they actually toured last year as Kingdom Come with Keith St. John on vocals, but I believe it was James, Rick, and maybe one other guy that
It's the entire original band without the singer.
It's the entire band.
Yep,
I thought it was only
without Lenny, because Lenny was out before doing it without the band.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I'm done. You guys go ahead. You can do it if you want. And they got Keith St. John.
Yeah. And they did, definitely a few dozen dates last year. And although I didn't see any, I've seen videos from it. And if you like Kingdom Come, it's Kingdom Come. It's great. And Keith does a great job doing Keith, but doing, definitely paying tribute to the original singer, which, like you said, gave his blessing for those guys to go out and do it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I tell you what, and this was like really surreal for me. So they were they did the pre-party for the Monsters of Rock cruise, and I got to intro them at the pre-party, and I was geeking out because they were on Monsters of Rock tour 1988, Van Halen, Scorpions, Dokken, Metallica, Kingdom Come. And that was my first big boy show. So this was 19 or was this 18? I can't remember which year it was, but fast forward all those years, here I am at the Monsters of Rock cruise, introing the band that was the first big boy band at the first big boy show that I ever saw. It was surreal. It was cool.
Full circle.
Cool. And I always joke to say we don't need any more fucking podcasts. Well, I'm starting another one, ladies and gentlemen.
What do you mean you're starting another one?
I am starting one with my good friend Mike Dawson from the Adam Carolla Show. I'm not going to tell everybody what it's about. We did a trial run last night, or Sunday night, and it's going to be fun. I'll tell you guys off the air.
Sure, right on.
Yeah. But,
do we know what it's called yet, or is that still under lock and key?
No, because if we give out the name, then we give out the premise, and we don't want.
Well, just so you know, another effing podcast and this, that, and the other are both taken. So just
yes,
and as is the Joe Rogan podcast, you can't call it that either.
Right, and obviously not the Adam Carolla Show as well.
Can't do that either.
No, can't do that one either. So we're just
looking forward to that.
We're just wasting time until everybody else shows up, which is fine. I'm good with that. Let's take this time because, yes, we are celebrating Randy Rhoads tonight. His birthday was 2 days ago. But today is a very significant day in the history of music, rock and roll, and heavy metal. Obviously, this is the day that John Lennon was murdered. This is the day that Dimebag was murdered. And this is also the day that Razzle was killed. This was the day of the accident. So we've got
it's the trifecta. It's like the hat trick of like bummerness, man.
I know, but usually this shot goes out to the working man, in the words of my good friend Stone Cold Steve Austin. But this shot goes out to Dimebag, Lennon, Razzle, and the late great Randy Rhoads.
Wow, I'll drink to that. Rayen, where are you, bro? What's happening?
Cheers.
There you go. All right.
Oh yeah, I said I wasn't drinking tonight, by the way.
Dude, I got to tell you, I'm still not over. As a guy that's been a performer in different stuff for a long time, and Troy, you probably can say this, I'm still not over Dimebag and how all that went down with him. I still can't process how loony that is, and such a crazy gifted guy, And so, it's a lot of cool history that you guys keep alive by talking about it, and guys like me who enjoy hearing about it. I dig it. The fact that you brought that up, I didn't realize today was the day that Razzle passed away as well.
Yeah.
That's just crazy to me.
I remember hearing about it. I know recently in some of the socials, Phil Lewis of LA Guns had commented on it, really, I'm not sure what happened. Somehow the subject of Motley Crue came up, and Phil Lewis made some comments about, that, and I sort of loosely quote that he's a hack and he can't sing his own songs. And then, of course, I believe they were probably connected in some way back in the day when Phil Lewis lived over in the UK doing the band Girl somewhere before, during, or after. And I believe he had some connections with Razzle. Maybe they were friends or whatever, but he, kind of put it out there going, yeah, he Vince Neil killed my friend, and and I still think it stings for him, which, man, there's, just think about how many people were at that party. And I don't know the details. All I know is maybe from what was in the dirt, because they sort of loosely addressed it in the dirt, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, think about all the opportunities to stop those guys from going out and getting the beer or
But they were all fucked up. Nobody's going to. And it was the 80s. Nobody was going to stop somebody from driving. And he drove down the block to the liquor store. What did they think? Nobody thinks it's ever going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, dude, I mean, yeah, I've had my moments where like, fuck it, I'm fine. Then I get home, I'm like, holy fuck, how did I get home?
Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, it's there was a little bit of a debate, not to take away from the the sort of the salute to Razzo and his passing.
Oh, right.
But thinking about him, some people were saying on the socials, well, he was a grown man and he chose to get in that car, but like you said, everybody was on the same level on 11 or 12 probably back then, and hey, we're going down the road, we're in the Corvette or whatever he was driving, and pretty crazy stuff. I didn't know all that happened on this same date, man.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Let's go to the chat room. We got some people in the chat room already. Tall Bear was the first one. Says hello, everybody. Scotty Strickland checking in from quarantine in Canada. So because he's Scotty and because he's from Canada. All right. The killer koala, Lori Nickel in his house, checking in from Australia. He says Blizzard wins.
Wow, we haven't even talked about it yet. He's already.
I know.
No, show's over.
Let's see. Tall Bear says love both albums, and of course Lori says fucking Ward. So of course, where is it? Fucking Ward. That's right. And Farrell Barrett in the house. He had band practice, or he would have joined us tonight as well. Farrell had the distinct pleasure of doing old Izzy a favor here and doing a little artwork for him, and he created that killer wrestling pose one. And he had to take the green screen out of the laying down one as well and put in the black background. Very talented guy, Farrell Barrett.
I hope he got hazard pay for that. Hazard pay.
Hey,
Izzy, I marked out so hard when you posted those photos. I marked out so hard. I was like, you went for it. You didn't just go for it. You went.
Oh, I know, dude. It's the funniest thing. I'm like, why should you not be able to buy a beach towel with Izzy half naked on it, or actually completely naked?
Well, here's the crazy thing. When your picture, you look like most of the wrestlers I used to go watch at the local wrestling show when I was a kid in the South. You could have fit right in with the hair, the pose, you crushed it with that.
The man tits, the whole nine yards.
The whole nine, dude. It was awesome.
And you've already got the belt, so you're ahead of the game.
Exactly. And hey, look, if you think Farrell had it bad, think about my buddy Darius motherfucking Reed, who had to take the photos.
Oh, God bless
him. He's good on charity for the rest of the year, folks.
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely.
On his public service, he's done.
Absolutely. I mean, should we dive into this a little bit? Then everybody will join when they join. I don't want to get into the debate too much yet, but listening to these two records, my personal thought is there is high spots on both records. I think one record has a little bit more of the high spots. And what we're going to do, so everybody knows, because Blizzard has 9 tracks and Diary has 8, we are dropping D off of Blizzard to even it out, and plus it's just a little instrumental thing, as beautiful and as glorious as it is. It will be 8 versus 8, and just looking at them and listening to them, it's like, I kind of lean towards Blizzard, or actually Diary. No, Blizzard. This is how hard it is. But when we get down and go track 1 versus track 1, track 2 versus track 2, that's where it might get messy. And that's what happened on the last one when we did Love Gun versus Rock and Roll Over, because everybody's like, dude, it's fucking Rock and Roll Over. It's that easy. Then we get down to the debate and we go track versus track versus track versus track, and Love Gun won 7-3. So it's, who knows how this is going to go, but this is why it's so fun. What are you guys' initial just initial thoughts on them.
Go ahead and take it, Rayen.
I think the first record, Ozzy really got the music right, even by accident, by Randy, by whoever was involved. The music was dialed in as perfect as it can be. It's really his Back in Black. But I thought the second record is when the record company figured out how to market Ozzy. Now, I'm just saying, you're asking bold opinions about the records. We'll get into the song. We'll get into the songs. But Diary of a Madman, the cover, look at him on the first cover. He looked like a hippie, just kind of laying there with a cross, and he looked like he was in Black Sabbath. They said, no, I don't even know. Izzy, you tell me. Sometimes I've wondered if the bat thing was a work to make him sound like a madman, because, you know, that they marketed him as the crazy. They knew he was not going to be Vince Neil or Bret Michaels, so they had to market him. They leaned into the crazy thing on Diary of a Madman. So I think musically, the first record got it right, 100%. But second record, I think the record label figured out how to market Ozzy right. So a lot of people love that second record because they fell in love with that crazy madman that he really was.
Right. Yeah. But that's why I don't think any of it was a work, because he really was that fucking nuts. And, you know, and I believe the story is like, yeah, I thought it was a rubber Batman, you know. So I take the little bite out of it, and all of a sudden I'm in the fucking hospital getting fucking rabies shots, you know.
Well, I believe it too, but at the same time, I see how much they leaned into the Madman thing, and I thought, you know what, if maybe it needed to be the like introduction and then go full crazy, but somebody along the line, in my opinion, said, let's lean into the crazy dude thing. And I think, you know, after that, you know, you could talk about different wherever they went after that, but they really figured out how to market Ozzy Osbourne on that second record, in my opinion. You know, people might disagree.
You know, without weighing in entirely on my opinion of which one is it a matter of which one is better? Is that the right term, or how you know, what's the proper terminology?
Which one you prefer? I mean, if you're gonna sit down and listen to one of these records, this is gonna be your favorite out of the two.
If we're doing Sophie's Choice, but I'm not going to get into what that Sophie's Choice answer is, which one I'm tossing in the boat and which one I'm pulling up. But, you know, just a couple interesting facts that I sort of kind of resonate. So I had to kind of go back and look these up. And obviously Ozzy's on my radar, but, you know, these are Randy Rhoads era albums. And so there's a lot of guitar players where this sort of kind of resonates with them. Something about Blizzard of Oz that's interesting is this is the debut album, right? After Black Sabbath, right? So this is his first record on his own. Something to be said about that. Another thing I found interesting is that, you know, this Blizzard of Oz sold 2 million more albums than Diary of a Madman. You know, and I know we're going to get into the track listing, but the other thing is you know, 5 million, 3 million, you know, usually there's that weird sophomore slump that didn't necessarily happen on Diary of a Madman. You know, it sold more than 50% of the other one. But you know, the thing is that's going to be very difficult is when we kind of go track by track, because you kind of go, oh, that's a great tune. And then you go to the other album and go, oh my God, there's great tunes here as well. So I know as we start peeling the onion on that, we're going to start having a hard time. But you know, just some of the things that are a little bit more that resonate with me more is that, you know, that debut album after leaving the Black Sabbath machine. And doing so well, and then having Randy Rhoads in the band is obviously pretty monumental. That's putting a big old stamp on what this is, you know, what Ozzy Osbourne is for sure. So,
oh, absolutely. And I think that the pure magic of these two records is the combination of Ozzy's vocals, and Ozzy, I don't think gets enough credit as a vocalist. Yeah, is he the best singer in the fucking world? No, he's not. But what he does is phenomenal for his abilities. And then you've got the combination of Ozzy along with Bob Daisley writing these songs that were just fucking amazing. And then you got the virtuoso of Randy Rhoads. And this is the thing that I love about Randy Rhoads as a guitar player, people never talk about. And this is what sets Randy and Eddie and a handful of selected few above the rest is their rhythm playing. The rhythm playing as a guitar player, it's just fucking mind blowing. Then you know, then Randy took that classical influence and dialed it into, into that style, which just blossomed on these two albums. Because I think if you go back and listen to the Quiet Riot stuff,
he was younger back then, and definitely a slightly different style of band. But I think definitely from Quiet Riot to Osborne, he definitely matured, and obviously musically had to kind of go into a little bit of a different direction. Now, again, I'm not super well versed in guitar players. I'm a drummer talking out of school, so please don't don't shoot me yet. But you know what I mean. I'm probably out of my lane right now. But with that being said, there was probably some maturity that happened, and plus think of where Quiet Riot, where they were in their career, and then where Ozzy was in their career, in his career coming out of Black Sabbath.
Right. No, exactly.
So he knew that Randy had the tools. He just had to pull them out of him.
No, absolutely. And Farrell said he has to leave, and his choice is Blizzard.
All right.
Actually, we should do this because Johnny Martin was not able to be here, but he did send his thoughts. So I'm going to read the Johnny Martin thoughts while we're at it. Okay, you fucks. Fortunately, fortunately have to work today from 3 to 9. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Yes, Izzy, I know that happens a lot, blah, blah, blah. That being said, if you want to read my Blizzard Diary opinions on the air, I love Blizzard, but I'm leaning more towards Diary. My favorite song on Blizzard, Steal Away the Night. Oh, it's a great song. And the solo to Goodbye to Romance is amazing. My favorite songs on Diary, SATO. Fun fact, even though I've always been a bass player, I've had Randy Rhoads posters on my wall. Fun fact number 2, and you may want to use this. Well, Johnny Martin, I am. Randy's guitar solo in the outro of You Can't Kill Rock and Roll was an homage to Mick Ronson's guitar solo in David Bowie's Moon Age Daydream. I did not know that. Mick was a huge influence on Randy. Okay, I suck. Sorry. And then he sent a photo. It's a 4 collage photo, and there's 2 pictures of Mick Ronson and 2 pictures of Randy Rhoads, and playing the same fucking guitar and same poses, same hair, same look. They look exactly alike. Holy shit.
Interesting. Well, considering he couldn't be here, he definitely did put in some effort. So did he weigh in? I mean, ultimately, is it Diary of a Madman that he's leaning towards?
He never gave his pure choice.
I'm not quite sure I understand where he's at on this,
See, this is what it's like dealing with bass players.
They just can't admit to anything.
Exactly. I mean, drummers are a pain in the ass too, because you're always on their time.
I resemble that remark.
Yeah, but you have the best smelling hair in the fucking in the rock and roll industry. So
at least I got something going for me.
Yeah, you got that going for me, which is nice. So he says he loves Blizzard, but he's leaning more towards Diary.
Gotcha. So he answers the question, but doesn't necessarily answer the question. But if we're going to interpret his vagueness, it would sound like album 2, Diary of a Madman would be his selection. Huh.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be more of the musician's choice. Because
now that's another interesting thing too, because there are guys where the musician and the musicality is going to resonate more than the songs for the layperson, aka myself, that just kind of looks at the playlist going, oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So Bruce checking in from Canada. It's too bad Bob had to fight to get paid for writing those songs. Yeah, that's true. And since you're from Canada. And Lori says, yeah, he was leaning towards Diary. And Lori also says Troy fucking rocks. So yeah, you got a fan in Australia now. Take a look at that. Lori, the bald creature.
Yeah. He's always very cool when I get in on the Izzy after show shows where we just kind of talk about whatever's happening in the world, and Lori always checks in from Australia, 12 hours ahead of us in the future. So no, he's a good dude.
Yeah, great dude. Oh yeah, I should take a chance to talk about this. Tuesday the 22nd. I think that's the 22nd. Yeah, the Tuesday before Christmas, I believe, is the 22nd, if I use my math correctly.
2 weeks from today, by the way.
2 weeks from today, yes. The Listener Drunken Summit. So there is going to be a handful of listeners on the show and maybe a couple former panelists as well that are always welcome to join. Lori will be here from Australia. Scotty will be checking in from Canada. Tony Garcia from Kansas City. I think Zach, who was on, who donated $100 one time to be on one of the Kiss Drunken Summits. And I think that was the first Kiss Drunken Summit that we did. He was great. Oh, he's coming back. And we will be debating, and this is going to be another tough one, Appetite versus Back in Black.
Oh man, come on, dude.
That's tough. Count me out. I don't even want.
It's going to be so fucking hard. So yeah, we're doing that. And next week,
man,
I might be doing a Minnesota Sports Summit, or I might have Vinny Tortorich. One of the two. Maybe I'll have 2 shows next week, depending on Vinny's availability. We'll see what happens. But yes, there will be a brand new show next week. So there we go. All right, where were we? Other than waiting for Alex Kane and everybody else.
Yeah, he's gonna show up. What do they call it when you show up kind of late, but
fashionably late?
Fashionably late, and he better be fashionable. I mean, he is a fashionable dude. Alex Kane, yeah, he's an old time Chicago boy from back in the day. Enough's Enough, and Life, Sex, and Death. Used to play some of the same clubs I did. Probably 5-10 years before I started playing him. So he's legendary.
No, absolutely. And I like that we're still wasting time and dragging this out until Luis gets here at 7 o'clock.
No, you could run the light all night just warming up on this talk, because there's so much to talk about. Like, I do think it's musically these albums have a lot to talk about. I didn't know we were talking about Randy yet. I thought we were waiting on that, but yeah, let's dude, if you want to jump into it, I'm ready whenever you are. Or either we can hang out and just shoot the shit.
Let's hang out, shoot the shit. Let's give some love to the sponsors for the first half of the show. That would be Beater Amplification. That's 2 E's. BeaterAmplification.com. Let me move the mic so you can see the beautiful head behind me. 100 watts of testicular fortitude. Pull 2 tubes, you got yourself to 50. And did 3 channels. These things are so badass. You get your old school fucking Metallica, Randy Rhoads, tone, Van Brown, all that shit's there, and it's fucking hand wired and it's tube the way it should be. Oh, you fucking Kemper pussies, lick my manhole and get yourself a fucking beater. Yes, I get it. You don't have to follow. You can just carry a microchip around. Fuck you. Plug into a man's amp. The beater, 2 E's, beateramplification.com. And yes, you could actually own your very own Izzy Presley TCB1 beater head before I do. You can order one and he will build it to you and send it to you before he's going to build it and send it to me. But that's okay. I'm okay with that, with not having number 1. I could have number 2. I would prefer number 1, but check them out. BeaterAmplification.com. Hit them up on Facebook as well. And our good friends over at Mackie, if you want to get into home recording, you want to get into podcasting, very affordable way. If you go to Mackie.com, that's MACKIE.com, just so you're on board with that, the whole thing, Mackie.com, and check out the studio bundles. Less than $300. You can get a mic, you can get you all set up, everything you need to record yourself playing guitar, singing, or record or broadcast a live fucking podcast. You can do it. Not that we need any more podcasts, but if you want to get into it, the game, it's really, really cheap and easy. Mackie.com. Check him out. I'm running through the fucking condenser mic. I got the headphones. I got the Big Knob Studio Plus. Dude, it's great. It's easy. It's simple. Mackie.com. How'd you like that dragging out 2 ads that long? Huh?
Hey, they're getting their money's worth, man.
Fucking pro.
It's 3 ads in 1.
3 ads in 1. I am a fucking pro. You're not going to get that out of Mitch LaFoney. can tell you that. Right?
Yes, something interesting about these two albums, and this again doesn't weigh in on my opinion, but just something to throw, just tossing a little grenade out there that back in 2017, Rolling Stone gave one of these albums a ranking of 15, and the other album a ranking of 9 on their top 100 greatest metal albums of all time.
Okay, Rolling Stone. I'm gonna guess that Blizzard was number 9 and Diary was number 15.
You are correct. Yeah, that's what they have that as. However, it was stated though in the ranking of it, Diary being 15, what they say is though the album is regarded quite favorably today, reviews upon its 1981 release were often less than enthusiastic. Rolling Stone, for example, opined upon the album's release that the songs here were a little more than riffs with a vocal line pasted on top. So not a great, but it's still top 15 of 100, right? They refer to Rhoads as a junior league Eddie Van Halen, bustling with chops, but somewhat short on imagination. So not a great review.
What?
Not a great review, but they put him at 15 of top 100. So it's a little kooky.
But God, you cannot compare anybody to Ed. You can never compare anybody to Ed because Ed was his own entity and Randy was his own entity.
For sure. I think it's a little, it's definitely more of a slam on Randy than it is.
Yeah.
It's like a backhanded compliment, to compare you to Eddie Van Halen is not a bad thing, but to kind of call you a Bush League or Junior League Eddie Van Halen's like, yeah, you're really good, but you're not really that good. You're like, kiddie play. So it's a little weird. You know what I mean?
Oh, I am shocked. I am shocked that they basically made him sound Bush League.
But they rated the album 15 of the top 100 metal albums of all time. So with that scathing review and opinion, they put it up 15. So I don't know. And only 6 slots down from the other album, Blizzard of Oz. So I don't know. It might be a little inconsistent over there at Rolling Stone.
But here's a question. I know, Rayen, you're I can see that lip quiver and you're dying to jump in on this. But let me ask you this before you jump in. Do you consider Ozzy a metal artist?
I do. I think he's a metal artist. I think if you were in Black Sabbath, you can actually claim being a godfather of metal. The guy, so Ozzy went through a couple of phases that I think Ozzy got after the second record. I think he just started doing what Sharon told him to do because it just got a little weird for a minute with the styles and stuff. But every metal show I went to, whether it was hair metal, going to see Poison or Megadeth, I'd see Ozzy shirts. There were a few bands that you would see shirts at everything. Motorhead and Ozzy were 2 of those bands that were at everything I went to, whether it was Metallica or Tough and Stevie, all the way people had on Ozzy shirts, so yeah, I think he's a metal guy.
Troy?
Absolutely. You might say Sabbath might have invented heavy metal, or that sort of dark kind of metal, and Ozzy's very much a part of Sabbath. And so he just kind of continued his version of metal. And, listen, the 70s metal, getting into the 80s metal, the early 80s, even same decade, but later in the 80s, it evolved a little bit, especially with sort of the hair bands taking off. Ozzy had to revamp himself, even Alice Cooper. I mean, seriously, the guy's been around since the late 60s, came out with an 80s hair metal-esque Poison, that album, so they sort of retooled themselves to kind of fit with what was going on, but still said, hey, we're still doing us, but we're gonna kind of fit in a little bit more, and which shows versatility, for sure. But I mean, listen, Ozzy was there being in Black Sabbath from the beginning, so I'm sure there are other origins of metal where because we can keep going back and back and back to go, well, this is the band that started metal. Well, I kind of say Black Sabbath was there at the forefront. They were laying the concrete for sure.
I look, and I'm gonna hot take coming up here. Yes, Black Sabbath invented heavy metal. Is Ozzy solo metal to me? No, I think he's a hard rock. He's a hard rock artist. I think the Poisons and all that stuff are hard rock artists with a pop flavor. I don't think they are metal. You know, I think of metal. Metal, dude, fucking metal, fucking Metallica, Slayer, and all that's fucking metal. You know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know exactly where that came from. I love it. Dude, fucking metal.
There you go.
Yeah, I know exactly where
I don't consider that metal. I consider it hard rock, even though we all consider Priest metal and Maiden metal. Priest is kind of musically, they're on the same lines as Ozzy was. So then I guess I'm just saying no, they're not fucking heavy metal. They're hard rock. But in the 70s, they were considered heavy metal because it hadn't evolved into actual fucking metal.
But Ozzy got that pass no matter if he went through the glam phase or whatever phase.
Right,
you could go.
right.
If you went to a Pantera show, you'd see an Ozzy shirt way before you would see a Poison shirt. If you went to a Megadeth show, everybody's high five and everybody loved Ozzy. But it did go a little off the rails. But I kind of checked out personally as a fan.
The rails of a crazy train. It went off.
Roy,
sorry.
I'm dealing with professionals.
I'm the Prince of fucking darkness, man.
It did go off the rails for a minute. I mean, and I think if you go back and see some of the looks and stuff, but that's when I think he wasn't in control. But Ozzy's a legend to everybody, just like Lemmy. If you wear a Lemmy shirt to the most glam rock show on earth, nobody will say a word to you because he's universally loved and liked in this community.
Right. And I'm not saying Ozzy isn't all of that. I'm just saying, dude, you can't look at him in the Shot in the Dark video going to fucking Gene Simmons' asylum fucking hairdresser and wardrobe specialist and go, yeah, dude, that's fucking metal.
That's what I'm talking about. He went off the rails for a minute. So, he left the Diary of the Madman and tried to be a glam artist for a second. And
that's an interesting observation, but how involved do you think he was in that musical change and sort of appearance direction versus, the almighty Sharon Osbourne? I mean, obviously I feel like,
I'm sure Ozzy had a hand in, with Bob going, yeah, this is what I want to sound like. This is the direction I want to take with this. And then having, then bringing in Randy's tone on top of it and just fucking balls out. But it's not fucking heavy metal. It's hard rock. It's great hard rock. Metal? I don't think so. But yes, I think Ozzy had a lot to say in where that direction was going to go.
Sometimes I feel like she just puts him on stage and, puts him in the right direction and pushes him out. I mean, it may be more in these days than, back then, but he sort of always just has this persona of, kind of just being aloof. And maybe that's part of the persona,
right.
Especially, and I think a lot of that opinion comes from when they were doing their MTV, I believe, or whatever station they were on, the Osbournes, where it kind of felt like he was just sort of, you just, like the Energizer Bunny, you just put him in the right direction and hit the on button and let him go. He does Ozzy, I saw Ozzy back in, I want to say 2018. I was out on tour with Tantric and we had some shows cancel. And so everybody went home. The bass player and I, he's like, hey man, I got a buddy that's 3 hours south that's working an event where Ozzy's playing at. You want to go down there? So we drove to the place, past the place that we were supposed to play. We stopped at the club owner at a restaurant. He paid us in full. And then we went, took the check, and the gear and went to this event. It was an outdoor festival. And it was, it was not Marilyn Manson, the other guy, who's the guy that Manson tours with all the time? Rob Zombie.
Yes, Rob Zombie, yes.
And Ozzy Osbourne. And Ozzy, you could tell he was having issues with his vocals, and a lot of people are like, well, Ozzy's, he's singing the tracks anyway. And he legit said, you can tell he was hoarse. I'm like, okay, well, his tracks aren't hoarse. That doesn't make sense. He obviously runs through, some sort of vocal equalizer and effect. Yeah. That's his sound, right? And so he said, listen, I'm having a hard time. Zach Wilde was on guitar. So Zach took over singing for a couple of the songs. I'm guessing that Ozzy got a cortisone shot, came out and sang the rest of the show like a mother, and it was awesome. So that was my first and only time seeing Ozzy Osbourne, and it was a great concert. And I was not happy that he was having vocal issues, but I was happy to see that he was up there really singing a show and really kicking ass, you know, and it was a great band. So I have seen Ozzy live, and all those old classic tunes up to, you know, the 90s and 2000s all sort of translate to me, you know, for sure.
Yeah, and look,
go
ahead,
I
please.
just want to ask. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Izzy.
No,
Troy,
no.
We're talking about Randy, and I expect this show to be about Randy. I just want to know from a guy I think's a badass drummer, who was your favorite Ozzy drummer?
Randy Castillo.
Castillo, yeah, I see that. Me too.
Yeah. I mean, I liked his showmanship, but I just like the way he plays. I just, you know, Tommy Clufetos is a great drummer. You know, Detroit guy, young guy, has been in a lot of bands, so he's certainly capable. And he puts on a great show. He's a great guy to have in an Ozzy Osbourne show in, you know, 2018 or 2020, whatever. But Randy Castillo, I felt like he was you know, like he's a band member, like he was part of the crew. I mean, Ozzy's had a lot of drummers. I'd have to look them up, and they're all certainly, but Randy for me just sort of kind of resonates as the guy.
Really, more than Tommy Aldridge, the ageless wonder.
For Ozzy Osbourne, for some reason, like when I hear Tommy Aldridge, I think of Whitesnake, and I think, you know what I mean? That's kind of where I feel like that's his, even though he's played with everybody, and he's back with Whitesnake, you know. So I feel like that was Randy Castillo's gig, you know, just sort of my opinion.
I feel that way too. I mean, that's my opinion. I think hands down, when people look at Ozzy's history, Randy's gonna be the drummer that's recognized as being his guy. That's just, he was with him for you know, pretty much nearly a decade, and in my opinion, besides the first two records, played on No More Tears, which I thought was his last great record. That's just my opinion.
I can't disagree.
But Randy, to me, his drumming was so significant on those records. The guy was like he was like John Bonham with crazy chops. Does that make sense, Troy?
100%. And then, you know, in a live aspect, put on a great show, you know, not too flashy, but just made it interesting, you know? So, yeah, I mean, he's the guy for me. If I'm putting together my perfect Ozzy band, he's the drummer for sure.
Scotty Strickland says, Blizzard was my first intro to a guitar hero. Wow. And he also says Tommy Aldridge was legendary. Tommy Aldridge still is legendary. And I don't think he's human. I think he's an alien because he has not aged, or he's just more machine now than man. But he's just, dude, he's got to be in his 70s.
He is. Yeah, he is. And he plays he plays the same way he did in his 50s. Think about this, in his 50s, 20 years ago, he still was a monster, still is a monster, you know? So, yeah, I mean, he's the guy. He's awesome. But when I'm putting together the all-star Ozzy band, it's Randy Castillo on the drums.
Who's your guitar player?
You know,
this is another, this is another whole show.
Right. You know, the all-star band. I mean, I gotta say Randy. I think, and I think Randy didn't have time, obviously, to grow in the directions. But I think really Randy, he defined that sound, you know, from obviously those first two albums.
Yeah.
Obviously, Zach took the torch and defined a completely different sound for Ozzy, but very great. However, Randy was there at the beginning, like I said, laying the concrete. So I got to say Randy's the guitar player.
And there's a lot of people that would say fucking Jakey Lee.
Absolutely. I feel, how many albums did Jake play on though? Two. Okay. Yeah. The same amount that Randy did, but yeah. I mean, yeah. Jake's a great guitar player too. I just kind of feel like those first two albums had so much more, maybe influence or something but it's so, I mean, listen, man, we're splitting hairs. It really is.
I know. We're splitting hairs and filling time.
Yeah. Right. Mackie.com, MACKIE.com.
Troy, I'm seriously considering adding a co-host. I would love to have you as a co-host because you actually do homework.
Actually, you know, I had to read this stuff because it's one of those things where, you know, we all kind of think we know about it, and then we go, I'm going to look up some information on these albums and go, oh my God, I didn't know that. So, it really is.
Yeah.
It's an
And I
interesting
appreciate that.
It gets you looking up stuff and finding out information that maybe you didn't really know. So it's interesting for me. It's all the little receptors in my brain are going, hey, what's up? We're doing something after 9 months.
Yeah. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Call Ripley's The Drummer is Smarter Than the Guitar Player and Singer. So good job. Good job. Rayen, Rayen, what about you? Who's your guitar player?
It would have to be Randy. I mean, I think Ozzy made, and a lot of you guys know this, a band can make their entire career off 1 or 2 records, just like Guns N' Roses, just like a lot of it. Ozzy's whole career was 3 records. The first 2 records and No More Tears. The rest of the records had highlights and lowlights, but those 3 records defined his career for me. So two outweighs one. So 2 outweighs 1. So I have to give the nod to Randy. I mean, I think honestly, if you had to break down what's worth more, what influenced more people, the music on those 2 first records or the singing on those 2 first records, they would tell you that Randy probably meant more to those first 2 records and going back historically. But I think Ozzy really came in and really brought it all on No More Tears. That's just my opinion. So I think the first 2 records was Randy shining and Ozzy hanging in there, making it happen. And on No More Tears, I thought Ozzy came in and just showed what he could really do. And it was kind of like the mic drop record for me. But a lot of people love Osmosis. I don't want to get a hate mail, on all that stuff. And that's cool. But for me, his whole thing was surrounded by those 3 records.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
God, how you could ignore Bark at the Moon, how you can ignore fucking Ultimate Sin, and Zach's first.
I'll tell you this right now. Look up his last tour set list while we're on the live stream and tell me which 3 records made up most of that set list, and then I'll rest my case and drop my mic.
Wow, I hear a challenge.
Boom.
Well, Troy, since you're the co-host who does the research, go ahead.
I'm gonna check out setlist.fm, of course, and I'm gonna find some most recent. Now we might have to go back a couple years due to the fact that he has postponed some tours due to health issues as well as now COVID. So he's looking to come back either in 2021 or 2022, depending on kind of what happens. But yes, so you guys carry on, and I will be doing some research.
Let me jump into the chat right now. So Scotty Strickland says Tommy was the first drum solo I ever heard recorded live, and then got to see him do that solo in my first concert ever. So Scotty, what year did you see? So wait, hold on, did you see Randy? Get the fuck out. I mean, that would have, because Tommy left after those 2 tours, I think. So I don't think he was there for Bark at the Moon. I don't know. I could be wrong, and I probably am. Lori says Randy and Ozzy were a match made in heaven. I can't disagree with that. Bruce says Ozzy's had more guitar talent through his career than any other artist. When you look at the bands that have changed guitar players, I can't disagree with that either. Stacy Kelly, welcome to the show. Randy, no doubt, I agree.
Bark of the Moon, Tommy Aldridge, for all those playing at home, on the drums in the album release November of 1983. So, you guys may know the albums for these songs better than I, but I can find the most recent, which was I see in October and a December New Year's Eve show of 2018 at the Forum in beautiful downtown Los Angeles. These would be the most recent set lists from the No More Tours Part 2. So you guys can tally the albums, because you'll know the albums, and I'll read them. And it's not a super long list. It's about 16 songs.
All right, I got a 10 ready.
All right, here we go. So we've got Bark at the Moon at the top.
Right.
Oh, wow. Opening with Bark at the Moon.
Mr. Crowley. Mr. Crowley.
That's a plus.
All right, then we got Suicide Solution.
That's a plus.
Fairies Wear Boots, so Sabbath.
Okay, so that doesn't count. We're
Doesn't
just talking
count.
Ozzy.
Okay, so I'll skip any Sabbath tunes. I don't know.
No. Please say
No.
the Sabbath songs. I want to
Okay,
know the
No,
Sabbath songs.
we're talking Ozzy. So
I
we're
don't care,
talking
but I don't care. I want to hear the whole set list though.
Okay,
All right. So number 5 would be I Don't Know.
that's a plus.
No More Tears.
That's a plus.
Road to Nowhere.
That's a negative for me.
And then now, are you keeping tabs of the album? What album these songs were on? Because I think that was one thing that you stated was you said that more songs would have been performed from the earlier albums than the later ones, right? Is that sort of
The first two and No More Tears, in my opinion, Ozzy's solo career was his 3 most important records. So you're just going down the set list, and my challenge to Izzy was that most of the set list is made up of those 3 records.
Gotcha. Okay, so here we go. So we've got Road to Nowhere after No More Tears, and then we've got War Pigs. And a lot of these are notated with extended Zakk Wylde jams on a couple of them, just in case. So, okay, so now we have an instrumental. We've got, I don't know if this really makes the list or not, but let's just read it off here. Miracle Man, Crazy Babies, Desire, and Perry Mason. It was sort of a medley instrumental. And then People Went and Got Beers on this one. That's the drum solo, right?
Yes.
Okay, then here we go. Next song, I Don't Want to Change the World. Great tune. I Don't Want to Change the World. Number 12, Shot in the Dark, followed by Crazy Train.
Plus.
And then Mama, I'm Coming Home.
Plus.
And then we've got Paranoid and Changes.
So those are Black Sabbath tunes. So if you look at just the Ozzy tunes, those 3 records dominate his set list. So there you go.
So are you sort of stating that, even Ozzy and their camp would sort of resonate with?
Well, I think those. Well, look, you can look at those records and say these, especially No More Tears, and probably, the biggest. No More Tears was actually a really big song. Wasn't Road to Nowhere on that one?
Yep. So was Mama, I'm Coming Home.
Mama, I'm Coming Home. So
we can
those
talk
are
crap about him now because he froze. See,
who froze? What?
No, initially I thought you froze, but now I'm seeing my internet is unstable. So while you guys froze and disappeared, it turns out that maybe I did.
Your internet's unstable, much like your bunghole. But yeah, you look at,
it's Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, there you go. Fucking Road to Nowhere and Mama, I'm Coming Home. And Mama, I'm Coming Home was probably his biggest song ever. Correct?
You're making my case for me. Izzy, keep going.
No, I'm just riffing on this because
Rayen's running out of mics to drop, bro.
I am. I'm gonna start dropping these pins over here.
Right, but look, he's also at that stage of his career where he has to play. It's basically a greatest hits tour. He's not going to be doing fucking.
Which were from what 3 albums?
You son of a. Well, that was Rayen Belcher, everybody. Thanks for joining us, bro.
All right.
Take care.
This is my last appearance on Izzy's podcast.
Oh hell no. Oh shit, Sledgehammer has arrived. Once someone becomes an established musician, they are allowed to produce diverse albums. At least 3 songs on a record makes you metal. You can be more than one thing. Well, I'm not disagreeing with that, Sledge, but he's a hard rock artist. He's not a metal artist. I'm sorry. That's the bottom line because Izzy Presley said so. Sky says, no, I saw Tommy with Whitesnake in '87 and got to hear tribute before seeing him live. Copy. And Bruce says he agrees with Sledge. Yeah, but you're Canadian and nobody cares. So, I'm busting balls. I have 2 quick Ozzy quips. And before we take a short break, and when we come back, we should have Alex Kane and Luis Villegas joining us. So I did get to see and talk about the never-ending farewell tour. I saw the No More Tours tour in 1993, I think it was.
With Megadeth and Alice in Chains?
No. I saw him with Slaughter and Ugly Kid Joe.
No, I would have traded that anytime for what I saw. Even though I loved Alice in Chains and I loved Megadeth, Slaughter and Ugly Kid Joe was right up my wheelhouse.
It was fucking awesome. It was awesome. And Ozzy came out. I was like, yeah, this is the last song of this fucking tour, man. I'm glad you fucking be here. Doing that whole gimmick. And then because I guess Ozzy's like tuned down to C now. I mean, it's just that's why he always sounds out of key. And here's a funny story about that is I had heard that like his current band, they were jamming on a bunch of shit, so they tuned back up to like E flat, and they forgot to tune down when Ozzy showed up, and they started playing, and Ozzy didn't know, and he just started singing, and they're like, "Dude, this is what it's supposed to sound like. You're fucking spot on. Why are we playing in C? What the fuck?" You know. But no, he's back in C. So,
what do you guys think about, we've been talking about these two albums, Blizzard of Oz, Diary of a Madman, that I believe in the early 2000s that they retracked and repackaged these songs and changed the drums and the bass guitar player so they could take, Lee Kerslake and bass player, help me out, Geezer, right off of the recordings.
No, Geezer didn't play. Geezer did play on something, but it wasn't on either of those two records.
Who played bass on those? If
I don't know. I tell you what, let's do this.
Was it Rudy Sarzo?
No, Rudy never played on them.
No. Okay.
He was a touring bass player.
It was, I'm sorry, Bob Daisley.
Yeah, Bob Daisley, the guy who wrote the fucking songs.
Yeah, so they removed him, and then Robert Trujillo, who is now in Metallica, and Mike Borden from what's that band with the fish?
Oh, yeah, the one.
You want it out.
Yeah, Faith No More.
Faith No More. So they had Mike Borden and Robert Trujillo replace the bass and drum tracks. So any proceeds from the sales of those albums beyond 2002, they would not get any mechanicals. So Geezer would still, right? Is it Geezer? Is he the one that wrote the songs?
Bob Daisley.
Bob Daisley. I'm so sorry, guys. Forgive me. Drummer.
You're getting fucking, Black Sabbath and Solo Ozzy mixed up, he
would still get his publishing, but he would not get any mechanicals from the sales.
Right.
So after this break, can we get into that a little bit?
I would love to get into that. Anything to fill time until everybody else shows up.
I got to say this though, just for your listeners.
Cliffhanger.
When I was on Troy's show, it was kind of my first introduction to Troy, and I can tell you he drops the bombs whenever he feels like it. So I can tell you got some feelings on this, Troy, and I'm excited to hear them. So you gotta stay tuned.
I can't wait. All right, it is another fucking podcast. We are doing Diary of a Madman versus Blizzard of Oz. And Troy Patrick Farrell is here. Rayen Belcher is here. Luis Villegas will be joining us shortly. Alex Kane.
Hang on 1 second. So we're not watching video right now, but we're all three on video right now. So when you said my name, I did thumbs up. And then when you said Rayen, I did thumb down, but he's below me on the screen. So I wasn't thumbing down. So when this comes out on YouTube, I'm not thumbing down you. I'm just pointing down your direction. Sorry. I came across like a total asshole.
No worries.
Right.
I was just sitting there saying that you let it rip. So
no.
Very well.
You're there, and I'm
you
here.
Would understand.
Oh, bullshit. That was, dude, fuck this guy. The dude underneath us. Dude, can we just talk about Ozzy? All right, cool. We'll be right back. It's another fucking podcast. Yes, he is.
Hey, how much time do we have?
About 2 minutes.
Oh, okay, cool. Awesome.
All right, we are muted. Let me stop the video so I can...
RockstarLeatherworks.com is your home for badass rock and roll gear. Featuring 100% handmade leather bands, watches, cuffs, bracelets, and more, Rockstar Leatherworks has something for everybody. Whether you are going to the show or you are in it, you can find something to fit your needs. Choose from a variety of designs or create your own masterpiece. Their bands and watches are second to none. They also ship internationally. Who needs a stage to be a rock star? Check out RockstarLeatherworks.com.
Hey ladies, Sass Pants Designs will take that band shirt that everyone has and make it your own in a flattering, sassy, and simple way. There are one-of-a-kind tank tops, halter tops, lace-up tees, and tube-top dresses already in stock. Check out the online store at sasspantsrocks.com and like Sass Pants Designs on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for special offers and custom orders. Use the code IZZY25 for 25% off of your entire order at sasspantsrocks.com. That's sasspantsrocks.com. Let Sass Pants make you the envy of the party.
Rockwood Saloon Authentic Apparel takes rock and roll fashion to a new level. with their tees and tanks for men and women. They also make custom shirts, jackets, vests, pants, hoodies, beanies, and more. The Rockwood Graphics Department can design anything from your logo, t-shirt design, promo posters, band swag, and printed at great prices. From tour shirts and custom stage gear to killer threads for the street to the stage, Rockwood Saloon has it all. Rockwood Saloon, authentic rock and roll apparel for stage and street. World Tour tested for quality, comfort, style, and durability. Check them out at www.rockwoodsaloon.com. That's rockwoodsaloon.com.
Hey, what's going on? This is Tom Arnold. I like fat women and cocaine. And you're listening to Izzy Presley here on another fucking podcast. And I know Izzy from Cocaine Anonymous meetings. I've actually seen him at the meetings with Ace Von Johnson from, I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but Ace has got a bad coke problem. And his sponsor is Josh Todd from, and again, I shouldn't say this out loud, but Josh is his sponsor for Buck Cherry. He's addicted to upskirt porn. And they're both being sponsored by the Eagles. The whole band, the Eagles. Anyways, another fucking podcast right here with Izzy Presley, and call your sponsor. Fucking A.
All right, second half of the show brought to you by A&P Laser Engraving. Hit them up, aplasers.com. Or is it AP Laser? One of the two. You'll find the fucking gimmick. You'll find them. A&P Laser. A&P Laser. Christmas is coming up. You want to do something nice for your loved one, your gal, your guy, your mom, your dad, your unborn child, your grandfather who's in the grave. You can still get something laser engraved for them, and you're going to hit up aplaser.com to get that done. And while you're there, you can say, hey, I want something very, very cool. I want the Izzy Presley, another effing podcast, Roadie pack, which Lori, listening in Australia right now, does have. It comes with a tumbler with this retro logo on it, and it'll be personalized with your name on there as well. So it's got a tumbler, it's got a flask, it's got a Zippo type lighter, and a dog tag, all with the Another Effing Podcast logo on it. They're only $30 plus shipping. Jesus Christ, kids. That's amazing. Or is it 35? I don't know. Ask Oz over at aplaser.com and he will get you taken care of. And our good friend, John Palumbo. We love us some John Palumbo here at Another Effing Podcast. Oh my God. You have a band, you have a business, you need a website done, you need a logo done. You hit up our good friend, John Palumbo at johnpalumbodesign.com. He will take care of you. And when you talk to him, when you get him on the blower, hello, John Palumbo. It was good to see you, John Palumbo. Always call him by his full name, and he will love you for it. JohnPalumboDesign.com. We are back. Troy Patrick Farrell from the Gilby CLARKE Band and from Tantric, which I forgot to mention before. Rayen Belcher is here from Early Ray, and he's got to check. You got to check out his fucking Facebook group page if you're an old school TV and movie fan. Please tell that again. Was it Urban?
I belong to a group of guys that we all look for old pop culture locations called Delta Bravo.
There you go, Delta Bravo. Yeah.
Let's see. Here's the logo for anybody wondering.
Yeah, it's badass. It's cool.
But Izzy, I gotta tell you, I just to shoot the shit for a second, real quick.
Just hold on. Can I introduce Luis really quick?
Yeah,
ladies and
course.
gentlemen, Heavy Mellow, Grammy nominated, which I did not actually know about. I don't think you ever told me that. Grammy nominated, and
many years ago.
And if you look at his Wikipedia page, apparently he now looks like a mid-20s baseball player.
Is that right?
That's what the photo is. Yes, it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, I hate that picture. Somehow somebody's gonna have to change it.
Wait, that's you?
I must be.
Oh, very well. In a baseball uniform?
Oh, wait a second. No, that's not me. I don't have.
Yeah, go look at your Wikipedia. Look at the picture. It's hilarious. That's not you.
No.
So, and we know him from Heavy Mellow. He's a friend of the show. He's been on many times. Luis Villegas, everybody. Luis Villegas.
Thank you.
And Troy and Luis and myself ruined our livers on a 3-cruise run once, and it was amazing.
That's what I was going to say is after I was on your podcast, Izzy, is I got quite a few folks telling me I should come on one of these cruises. So I want to set a challenge. If someone will dedicate themselves and guarantee an Izzy Presley, Shawn Michaels laid out cake boss style cake, bring it out. I will come on the cruise and bring it out myself.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Because we're just getting started with that. You know that, right?
Oh, I know. It is disgusting and hilarious. Luis, have you seen this photo that he's referring to?
I have not.
Oh, let me change my background, sir.
Oh boy.
I can't believe you have not seen this beautiful, beautiful photo of me.
Oh.
Let me back up so you can enjoy the whole view.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. So while we were waiting for you and Alex Kane, who's not here yet and will be, he's setting up an alarm system for his mom, I believe. But he will be here. So we were just talking like random Ozzy Randy history, and we kind of chose who our favorite like the dream Ozzy band would be. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, Mr. Villegas.
Ooh. Dream Ozzy band made up of all his
correct
members. Well, Randy Rhoads on guitar, for sure. Man, I really loved the original band that recorded those first two albums.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
And what's his name? Bob
Daisley.
Bob Daisley, whose book I just finished reading, by the way. Amazing book.
Nice.
Great book. But yeah, that band seemed to have a lot of energy, and what it was before it turned to 80s. It was still kind of a late 70s hard rock band. Yeah. I can try and think of some others, but some other musicians that I like, but I would.
Like Troy chose Randy Castillo for the drummer.
Yeah, I love Randy Castillo. He was great too, and I love Tommy Aldridge, which came right after Lee Kerslake. Randy Castillo definitely brought the 80s vibe, definitely 80s hair. Carmine Appice played briefly with Ozzy, very briefly. He was on the video for, what was that? He was on one of their videos, right? But also a legendary drummer.
Well, God, he had the bass player from fucking Alice in Chains too, didn't he? Mike Inez.
Mike Inez, great bass player. Even Chris Trujillo was not Chris Trujillo. Robert Trujillo was an Ozzy's band as well.
Yeah.
It's really hard to pick because all those guys are awesome, and I'm a huge fan of all the eras of Ozzy. But I think there's something special with those four guys that recorded the first two albums.
That's an excellent fucking take on this, because you forget about those guys when you talk about the Dream Ozzy band. Like,
so did Ozzy and Sharon.
Yeah, right.
Get those guys too. You mentioned Carmine Appice, brother of Vinny Appice, same family, different pronunciations. But if you just look up Ozzy Osbourne and Carmine Appice, not a lot of favorable things. It seems like his experience in the band, I don't think Ozzy would be choosing him as his drummer. Not very favorable experience on the Bark of the Moon tour. Is just looking at the headlines, that it seems like he was let go and canned probably unceremoniously, and but there's the headlines of some of the articles say Ozzy was the weakest link in his own band, so I don't think Carmine will be getting the call.
So Troy, before we forget, bring the heat. Tell us what Sharon Osbourne did by hiring work for hire musicians instead of paying the original musicians. You said you wanted to touch on that, and I'm super excited after hearing your podcast for the past few months to hear what you think about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't build it up too much, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to bring enough heat. I got to tell you, it's about as underhanded as it gets. I mean, I've been in this business and I've had some underhanded shit happen to me personally. But I mean, to go, to go out of your way to spend money to make sure two other guys don't make money, I think is really terrible. I mean, that really shows a lot of hatred outside of bludgeoning them in the face with a hammer, which is very personal. This is the second best thing you could do. I mean, it really is terrible that, I do not want these guys to make any more money off their mechanicals of these albums. You can't take the publishing away or the writing, but you can stop them from making that. We're going to make sure that all the streams and everything moving forward after 2002, you don't get a penny of. And I think that is crazy. Not a lot of respect for that decision. I mean, that is
new low in music. I've never ever even heard of anybody doing that. Taking people's recordings off of not just any recordings, but classic recordings.
Yeah.
And just taking them off for that reason is I've never heard of that. It could only come from the mind of Sharon Osbourne.
Taylor Swift right now is re-recording. She finally now has the ability to, because she wasn't able to purchase her catalog. She's able to go and re-record her first, I believe, 5 albums. So, this is where it's different, is that, maybe those guys aren't around, or she's got another band now, so she can record those and now own those masters and now put out those new versions where she, owns all that, she's got probably whatever publishing, but it's her new recordings of which she owns.
Yeah.
Where her old catalog that's different than this. This is Sharon out going, we're going to go in there and retrack these. So Lee and I keep saying Bob Daisley do not get money. That's as underhanded as it gets.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, and look, the backlash was huge. I mean, it was
rightfully so.
And so
when I heard those new versions, I couldn't believe, like, what this intro is not correct. This, you could tell immediately that the drums were off. It could just be the sound. I mean, we're so used to hearing the originals that there was no way in hell that was just remixed or remastered version. That's a completely different drum fill. Not different fill, but it just sounds very different. The bass sound is completely different bass sound.
Very different. Yeah, very different bass player, very different. I mean, drummers are, like snowflakes or whatever. And I don't mean people that bitch and moan about everything. I mean, very different.
They are.
From one another. So
they are.
Well, sometimes. Listen, when you get booted from an album that you recorded, it might be a little snowflakey. But the thing is, we can all play that fill in Mr. Brownstone. But nobody plays it like Steven Adler.
Exactly.
Nobody will ever be able to play it like Steven Adler. That swing and that approach and that, he's the guy. And the thing is with those albums, to the layman, they sound like the songs, but man, those are not the fills. Those are not the grooves. It's about as fucking lame as you can get.
I had nothing to do with it, man. It was all sad.
Like I said, she
you
put them in the right direction.
I knew you would, Troy. I knew you'd bring it. You brought the heat. It is as a fellow musician, that is about as bad. Because here's the thing: those two guys, it's not like they were on 1 million platinum records. Those records meant something to their lives, and it's almost like Sharon just did it to be spiteful. Because I'm like, my other friend here, it's like you hear those records and it's just like you said with Steven, it's the way he plays. It's just, when you hear Guns N' Roses and Steven comes out for a few songs, it's like, oh, that's Guns N' Roses.
He's the guy.
Yeah, he's the guy. And you hear it. And the same thing with the original guys. And I think taking them off the record, it'd be one thing if they were sticking them up for these crazy rights. But as far as I know, those original two guys were just collecting their normal stuff. They weren't trying to get more money out of them. They weren't trying to do anything. They just got taken off and their check didn't come. And they're like, where's our check? And for that, Sharon is on the despicable devils of the music industry list for me.
Wow, there's the headline right there. There's your soundbite.
And I think Stevie will be the only one that runs with it because he knows. Loudermouth's going to be like, who?
Dude, you got D-list celebrities on your show here. Well,
D-list? What world are you living in?
What was that on you had a Facebook poster who was mad at one of your shows, and she was like, you and all your D-list celebrities.
Oh yeah. I can't remember what that was. Yeah, just somebody being a
but Sharon, for that, is messed up. I 100% agree. And Troy, you brought the heat and you said it exactly the way I'd say it. I think those two guys deserve not only to be a part of it, they should be celebrated because of it, because those two records were flawless. That was like Highway to Hell and Back in Black for Ozzy.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I wouldn't say flawless. I wouldn't say perfect record, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that. But I guess like when Lee
playing wise.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But like when Lee just recently passed away.
Within the last month or so, right?
2 months maybe.
Months?
And Trunk replayed his interview with him that he did, and he literally his dying wish, because he had cancer. I think it was cancer that took him. But his dying wish, he literally he wrote to Ozzy and Sharon. He goes, "My dying wish is to actually have these fucking platinum records that I'm supposed to have," and they made it happen, which is cool. He should have had them already.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this: does anybody know, when I listened to it today, where did Sharon fix the mistake, or did she just say, "Fuck you guys, we're gonna keep it like it is"? Because Izzy, you're right. I do remember the blowback.
Yeah, no, they in 2011 they released remasters of the original, and like they put extra tracks on Blizzard, and Diary came with a second CD that was another live show from that era, that I think is better than Tribute personally. And the thing I've noticed, you listen to like Tribute, and you listen to that, and you listen to live Ozzy, there's one thing that happens before almost every single song, and Ozzy says this: "We're gonna do a number for you now." That is the intro to every single song for the most part.
Yeah.
We went through that second CD last night on our Drunken Zoom thing, and it's like, oh wait, here it comes. We're gonna do a number now. It was
that's all over Speak of the Devil for sure.
Oh yeah. It was like there's like 12 tracks on there, and it was on literally 9 of them.
He's like Ric Flair of rock stars. He's got about 4 matches he can do, but he's the best at those 4 matches, period.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. So should we dive into this? Should we dive into the debate?
Let's do it.
Like I said at the top of the show, that I think I do not believe these are perfect records. I believe they're very good records. There's super high spots on both of them, and super low spots on both of them, to me as well. I think I lean towards Blizzard. I think Diary is, like we talked about earlier, musically, I think the song Diary of a Madman is the ultimate fucking Ozzy song. It is the masterpiece. It is the Randy Rhoads, Ozzy Osbourne masterpiece, the song Diary of a Madman. But I think just looking at them both, I lean towards Blizzard. Maybe it's because I'm more familiar with the songs, and I had a Devil's Three-Way to Blizzard of Oz.
What's a Devil's Three-Way?
That's not the one with 2 girls. That's the one with 1 girl.
Sweet.
Okay.
So metal of you.
That's a Wednesday night at Troy's house. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but sometimes he gets to be the girl. Or he's got the hair. It smells pretty. You know.
Fair enough.
He has to shave.
Hey, that's what we do. That's what we do. Hey, so are we gonna go track by track, or
we will. Let's just get into our thoughts on both of the records.
Well, I kind of feel like, and I apologize for the interruption, but I kind of feel like, because I'm already leaning towards one way, right? I already
right.
But I feel like as we go through the songs, that could possibly change.
Exactly. That's why I want to give our initial thoughts before we dive into that.
Okay. Interesting.
See if anybody changes their minds.
Yeah, exactly. Troy.
So let me just kind of take, I'm just kind of looking at, and this does not have anything to do with what Rolling Stone thinks or the amount of album sales. But I got to tell you, just looking at the track listing and the fact that it was the debut album after his tenure in Black Sabbath, and then looking at the track listing going, wow, that's a heavy one. That's a heavy one. That's a heavy one. I mean, there are a lot of heavyweights. I gotta say Blizzard of Oz is the debut. Blizzard of Oz is where I'm going right now. Now, if we go and sort of go song to song to song, that could change. But right now, I'm putting all my chips, pushing them in for Blizzard.
All right, Luis.
I am going to have to agree. It was my introduction to Ozzy, Crazy Train, of course, and it has the energy of like a new rock band just coming out. I love that. I mean, I love the artwork of Diary of a Madman a little bit better. Blizzard had pretty cool artwork, but the Diary of a Madman had better. But I think if I start taking it apart, overall, musically, vibe and songs, I think by a hair, I think Blizzard of Oz. I would pick Blizzard of Oz.
Mr. Belcher.
Let me ask you guys this.
Oh,
I'm just
boy.
curious.
Here we go.
Before I go in my video, would you consider D as an important for guitar players? Because I'm not a guitar player. I'm like Troy. We're talking a little bit out of spot here. But was D, in your opinion, because to me, was it as important as Eruption?
No.
For guitar players, you don't believe so?
No.
I would, as a guitar player, I would say no, not as important. It was kind of his classical piece, and is a very easy, on the easy side classical piece. It didn't show anything, breakthrough, anything new like Eruption did. Eruption it just blew everything before it out of the water in terms of rock guitar. I guess in terms of including classical guitar into rock, but that had been done before too in the 70s with people like Steve Howe and whatnot. So no, I would, in a word, I would say no, not like Eruption.
For me, Blizzard D really made it for me, and maybe it wasn't as important as an Eruption in the way of breaking ground, but Ozzy came in so strong with I Don't Know, Crazy Train, Goodbye to Romance, and then he was like, time out, check out my guitar player. And that was really the first time I'd heard that. And then you come back into Suicide Solution, and Suicide Solution into Mr. Crowley, which was the first time that we know somebody was singing about some devil stuff. And it was like, wow, this guy's all the way crazy. And then you go, No Bone Movies. That record, it's just hard to discredit how much Randy shined on that record. I think that's just, to me, is a collaborative record between Randy and Ozzy. I don't think that's so. I think Tribute got it right, because Tribute said, this is what we do, but there's so much there with D. I just remember when I was a kid growing up, when as soon as they got an acoustic guitar, that's the first thing they wanted to learn was D,
So, but you're going with Blizzard.
Yeah,
I think musically, I think Blizzard of Oz, but I think they got the marketing right for Diary of a Madman. That's just my opinion.
So what's your answer?
If I had to jam one, if I was just jamming one, it would be Blizzard of Oz all day long. But you said there until let me ask you this, Izzy. You said Diary of a Madman is your favorite. If that cover of his favorite song, if that didn't complement with the cover, would it have impacted you as much if he was just laying there with a cross and instead of a bloody mess?
Doesn't matter.
No. See, for kids like me, the cover mattered. The fact that he was coming out crazy, torn clothes with blood everywhere, it was a perfect compliment to that song. But I think nobody cared about the cover on the first record. But to answer your question, Blizzard of Oz overall for me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
one thing that I find interesting is that sort of D seems to be the thing that teeters you over on that. there is something to be said about the fact that this is the second album and that now Ozzy and Randy have now been together for, an album and a tour cycle. And now they're, jiving together and writing songs together. And there's some growth happening with Randy as a guitar player. Now, as a drummer who's clueless on, guitar stuff, obviously I know Eruption. I don't know that. I mean, I probably heard D, but if I could hum it to you right now, I wouldn't be able to, so that doesn't play a factor. So as the layman, that's interesting that is sort of the tipping point for you, Rayen, that D is and the growth and maybe the bond that they have in the second album. So I find that your take on that is very interesting for sure. Think about, you mentioned Suicide Solution. Remember back in the PMRC days and he's advocating for suicide, that obviously got a lot of traction and created a lot of controversy, which is another interesting topic all on its own,
Well, and it's funny because I have the two remasters from 2011, which is what I listen to. I prefer, I would love to listen to the originals on fucking vinyl, but I do not have them. And I just happen to have the remasters on my fucking iTunes. So that's what I listen to. And in Suicide Solution, they re-recorded some of the vocals to specifically make you hear, get the glass out, get the glass. Get the glass out. Not the no, get your guns out. Get the glass out, And
they want to do enunciate. Annoying. Yeah, because
Ozzy, you've got to enunciate. I just made her sound like Hitler, but it kind of
well, to me, D, which was on the first record, was the first time I'd heard, like, it just felt like it had substance. And Troy, you'll understand this. Sometimes there's just a lot of flash and there's no heart, there's no substance. When D came on song number 4 on the first album of Ozzy's solo career, I was like, okay, this guy's pushing a little bit of heart. Like, this is a really, I'm not a guitar player. I don't know how hard it is to play, but it sounds beautiful. And the fact that he took you there in the 4th song, maybe was just a stroke of genius. But you're right, Troy. That does tip the needle for me back to the first record.
Gotcha.
And ironically, the song that is going to be left out of the challenge because that evens it out.
True.
So,
D.
Yeah.
So your whole argument is squashed because it doesn't count. It's a
exactly.
Listen, Izzy has not recovered. Izzy has not recovered from that set list domination that we put on him earlier. So I'm sorry.
All right, let's do this. Track number 1, Blizzard of Oz. I don't know. We're gonna do a number for you now. I don't know. Versus a number called Over the Mountain. Luis?
We're pitting the first 2 songs against each other.
We're going track versus track all the way down.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Man, I'll tell you this. The whole controversy of who actually performed on those albums and who was put on the inside cover on Diary of a Madman, it showed Rudy Sarzo and Tommy Aldridge on the inside cover. I don't know if you remember the sleeve. So I believed that this was a whole new band, and maybe it was the production or what, but that intro on what's the second song that you mentioned, the one on the Diary?
Over the Mountain.
Over the Mountain. It blew me away. That was like, wow. This is the new guy. This is like new and improved drummer. So that blew me away, and the song was amazing as well. I Don't Know is a great tune. Also, of course, the opener of the first album, which also blew me away. But I think in terms of what I remember, how I remember my first experience with Over the Mountain, I would pick that one, and we even do that one with in Heavy Mellow.
Yeah, that's right. If you guys, Rayen, you got to check these guys out. Just
we do the intro. Just like that. That's our intro. Our drum intro.
They take metal songs and they do a flamenco style, and all the vocal lines are done on the flamenco guitar. So they can be playing in like this this snarky Beverly Hills hotel. Well, not right now, obviously. sitting in the corner playing Slayer, and everybody, oh, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. This is amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you. This is amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
Those young boys are so good with their instruments.
Yes.
Playing,
Rayen, Rayen, I don't know. We're over the mountain.
Well, considering both are still in his set list, I'd be honest with you, man. It's hard for me to pick because both of those, the first two songs on both of those records, they're just, to me, some of his best material. If I had to just put it on for me, God, if I'm putting my headphones on and going running, Over the Mountain is the song I listen to. But if I'm in my car, I don't know is the song I listen to. Maybe I'm walking the line here.
Well, you can't choose both. Which one are you choosing?
Maybe I'm walking the line here, Izzy. I'll go with I don't know.
Okay. TPF.
So, I'm, singing the songs in my head, and, right?
Yep. And people look to me and say, "It's a final day,"
which to me is still very Sabbath, right? So I'm looking at the two and I'm like, man, I don't know. But I got to tell you, it goes against my initial Blizzard vote is I got to say out of the gate, Over the Mountain for me.
Oh, wow. Wow. We are,
whole world up.
We are going to be at a deadlock because as great of a song as Over the Mountain is, I don't know is one of my favorite fucking Ozzy songs. That song is just, I love the riff. I love the vocals. It's just such a great, yeah, dude, I have to go fucking, I don't know.
Fun fact, like I told you, I just finished reading Bob Daisley's book, and on there, he wrote that with Randy Rhoads, and Randy Rhoads came up with the idea, but he said originally the idea was eighth notes. So it was
okay.
And Bob Daisley said, "Oh, that sounds great. That sounds great." And they put a drum beat to it, and he said, "Randy, try it with 16th notes." Oh, okay. And so that
yeah.
riff. So Bob Daisley had a huge part in writing a lot of the songs, bigger than Ozzy did.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Kind of a little bit of a gallop in that too, in that riff.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely gives it a lot of movement for sure.
And there one vote from the chat room was I don't know. So, but we're at a deadlock off the bat. Now we move into track number 2, which is the fucking the Guitar Center fucking ear garbage. Even though as great of a song as it is, Crazy Train versus Flying High Again. And that was not, don't get me wrong, I was not ripping on Crazy Train. I'm just saying you walk into a Guitar Center on a Saturday afternoon, you're going to hear fucking Crazy Train played wrong.
and as loud as you can get away with too. It's terrible.
Yep. So yeah, Crazy Train versus, what was the other one?
Flying High Again.
Flying High Again. So don't you smoke them joints, man?
Well, if I'm first again.
Go for it.
Flying High Again. Never really dug the song to begin with. And Crazy Train really was the like I said, the song that got me into the Blizzard of Oz album. And it was, I mean, instant classic as soon as it came out. Through the years, through the last 30 plus, however many years, it's still great, but yes, it's a little tiring to hear again and again after, the 5,000th time. But I remember the magic of listening to it as a teenager. And Amazing guitar solo. Now the guitar solo, if we talk guitar solos, the guitar solo on Flying High Again, great, really cool, because you hear the two guitars from the left speaker and the right speaker, and they come together, and then there's one guitar in the down the middle doing the solo, and at the end of the solo, it kind of, you can hear it split back, and the guitars start up again as rhythm guitars. So that's kind of cool about Flying High Again, which I dug. But overall, if I had to choose one, it would be Crazy Train, because it was just an instant classic, and I love, and that guitar solo is not bad at all.
Correct. Rayen.
Again, this is another two songs that are currently still in his set list. So it's hard for me to pick, because I feel like Crazy Train has evolved into kind of Thunderstruck for AC/DC. You can't go to a football game without hearing it. It's kind of become that anthem-y song. It's hands down Ozzy's Enter Sandman. It's the song that you're tired of, but you can't not jam to. But I'm gonna turn heel on you.
Oh,
my favorite out of the two is Flying High Again.
My God, King! My God, King! Rayen Belcher, King! He's going against the grain, King! He's jumping off the Crazy Train, King, and he's jumping on the other one, King!
I'm going full heel on you. Maybe because I'm just so conditioned to hear Crazy Train and just a standard Ozzy issue. My personal favorite out of the two. You can't deny Crazy Train is a perfect song and what set that whole record off. There's no denying that. But if you're asking me my opinion, if I have to give the vote for my perfect Ozzy record out of these two records, Flying High Again would take it for me.
I'm gonna go. I'll let Troy go last. I think that unlike Sweet Child of Mine, unlike Enter Sandman, unlike Thunderstruck, unlike, pick one song that you can't fucking just stand hearing anymore because you've heard it 10 billion times. Crazy Train is one of those songs that I don't change the channel on. I still listen to it. It is so fucking good. It's just the guitar riff is so great. It's such a well put together song. It is so good. I cannot turn it off. It's like Freebird. If you don't like Freebird, lick my fucking sweaty bunghole, because you need to die. Freebird's the greatest song ever written. But dude, Crazy Train, you can't deny it. As great as the other one is, dude, it's fucking Crazy Train. I'm sorry.
I told you I was going heel on you, though.
I know. That's just my 2 cents.
That's all right.
And we know it's my show, and my opinion rules. So, TPF.
Rayen's like Woody Woodpecker. He's an instigator. So, don't take it personal. But, funny story. Just this past weekend in the almighty new Sunset Strip of Nevada, just west of Las Vegas, I had a gig in Pahrump, and Crazy Train was on the list. And I got to tell you, out of all the Happen and Harry gigs, and if Alex Kane shows up, we can commiserate about those. Out of all the gigs I've done with Happen and Harry, we never did Crazy Train, but that song showed up on the list, and it's like, it's like when you see a Zeppelin song, and it's no disrespect to Zeppelin, but everybody does the same 3 songs. And it's just like, no, I don't want to do rock and roll because nobody does it right, and there's some other song. Let's play something else. But with that being said, I was like, Crazy Train. I'm like, fuck, everybody plays There's so many other cooler tunes. But that was a song that was on the thing, and I started listening to it. I'm like, God damn, the drums, starts off like you're rocking, then you go to the 16s on the hi-hat, and I'm like, that's actually a really fun drum song. But this doesn't come from the perspective of a drummer. It comes from the perspective of the monumental greatness of the song. So as much as I like and love Flying High Again, and as overplayed as Crazy Train is, it's near and dear to my heart. So I'm off the rails and I'm on the Crazy Train, and that's the one that I vote. That's the one, man. It's like Steven Adler's the guy for GNR, and out of these 2 songs, Crazy Train's the guy. I picked that one.
You are a smart man, and I wish I was on the rails.
Well, the night is young, so.
All right, so now we go to track number 3. We've got on Diary, You Can't Kill Rock and Roll versus Ozzy's Beatles song and Fuck You to Black Sabbath. That was his good riddance to Black Sabbath, the song Goodbye to Romance. TPF?
Make me last on this one, and I appreciate the opportunity to go first. However, I have to just do a little pre-play of the You Can't Kill Rock and Roll tune. So,
okay, Rayen, you go first.
Being a singer, I have to tell you, Ozzy was so dialed in on Goodbye to Romance. It's so hard not to just feel you're right. He was sending a message through his lyrics and his singing and his voice. You could tell, like, when singers mail it in, and you can tell when singers really are feeling what they're saying. Goodbye to Romance all day long. Even though You Can't Kill Rock and Roll is a great tune, I don't discredit it at all. But my vote goes to Goodbye to Romance, just because Ozzy would, if you go back and listen to it, if you can find me a better Ozzy vocal, I'll listen to it. But I think that's as good as it got for that guy. He just was so dialed in. It was so good. So Goodbye to Romance for me.
I am going to say You Can't Kill Rock and Roll is a good song. I think sometimes Cheese Factor I have to give red marks on, and there's a little cheese factor in You Can't Kill Rock and Roll and some of the lyric. And dude, Goodbye to Romance is just a beautiful song.
Beautiful.
Great vocal, great lyrically amazing. Yeah, Goodbye to Romance. Luis.
And guess what? It's still in his set list.
Yeah.
Still in his set list.
So that's I have almost the same critique as Izzy, but I'm flipping the songs around.
Oh,
I love Goodbye to Romance, but I've seen Ozzy many times, and yeah, it's that the very end, that little the keyboard part. It's a little cheesy for me.
Wow.
It's a great song. Like I said, the first album is probably my favorite album of all time, and I learned that song as a young guitar player because it was great. Again, another classically influenced piece. But if we're pitting it against You Can't Kill Rock and Roll, that has a great intro. It's also very Bob Daisley called it very Pink Floyd-y. It's got these great chords in it, but it has this awesome solo section where it just goes into a different key. You know, you're down, go down, down. How many times? That's the whole verse chorus. But then the guitar solo comes in, and it goes in heavy land, really heavy. The guitar solo is in, I don't know what key it's in, what mode it's in, but it's very awesome as a song, and as all the flavors in that song. I would give it to You Can't Kill Rock and Roll versus definitely Goodbye Romance is no slouch, but by a hair, You Can't Kill Rock and Roll.
The Peanut Gallery in the chat room is leaning towards Goodbye to Romance. Even though it's a very, very hard choice. TPF.
Yeah, I'm siding with Luis on this one.
Oh my God.
The song is 7 minutes long. It really takes you. I feel like I'm on a little bit of a roller coaster, kind of going up and down and in and out. And, the other one, forgive the term, I feel like it's a little bit more flat than like this one. I feel like I'm going through a journey musically and emotionally, where the other one, it lays its ground and it's a great tune. But I am You Can't Kill Rock and Roll for me. That's my vote.
All right. So now we move on to track number 4, which is actually track number 5 on Blizzard of Oz, because we are skipping D to even out the 8 versus 8. So now we have Suicide Solution versus Believer. And Suicide Solution, I'm going to go first on this one. Suicide Solution, that riff is so fucking cool. But then you got Believer with that boom, 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 boom,
That's a
you know,
riff,
that
too.
bass riff, you know. But there's just something about Suicide Solution that just draws me in. I mean, Believer's so fucking good, but Suicide Solution is like one of my go-tos. I have to go Suicide. Thank you. Luis.
Hey, who's next? Me?
Yeah, go for it.
Believer, great tune, great, like you said, bass intro, but then the guitar comes in with a great guitar riff too. Very, very cool. Again, using some really cool modes. It creates a really great atmosphere for that song. Lyrically, it's a great tune. Suicide Solution, however, is on a different level, and I think Suicide Solution was one of my favorite songs on Blizzard of Oz, and it's still on his set list, I believe. Yep. Am I correct? It's still on the
skip. What was that, Izzy? Still on the
yeah,
set list.
Yeah, but fucking Rock and Roll Night's still never gonna leave the set list. There you go.
And I think that's it's a great spotlight for the guitar player, whoever the guitar player is, du jour in Ozzy's band. So it's a great live tune, and it's a great song to listen to on just the original album. It's got this great end section where it's just open, and I dig it for that. I dig it. So I would say Suicide Solution.
Troy.
Yeah, I'm nodding my head on that one. I concur. That one just kind of resonates as a fan of rock and roll to me. The other one feels a little bit more filler to me, where Suicide Solution is despite the controversy that it had back in the day, where Ozzy Osbourne's telling people to kill themselves. Despite it has nothing to do with that. I just feel like that one just is rock and roll. I know the riff, and I went back and just kind of played it to kind of familiarize. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one out of those two there. Suicide Solution for the win there.
And I'm going to say this. I mean, Believer is a heavy fucking song. As slow and methodical as it is, it's I don't know the words, but obviously something is something.
You sound just like them, though. That's the great thing.
I know. Rayen.
Suicide Solution all day long, and not for exactly the reasons you may think, because when I was coming up as a kid, that was one of the urban legends of Ozzy, is that he made kids kill himself. Like at school, you'd be like, oh my God, he does have a song where he talks about suicide. Not that we thought it, but it was like the Gene Simmons cow tongue thing when I was a kid. It just made the urban legend of Ozzy so much bigger than life. And in song for song, I'm sorry, Suicide Solution, if you just get down to the metrics of the song and the optics of the actual music and the lyrics, I think it blows Believer away. That's just me.
Okay, and the next one I think is going to be a wash. Little Dolls versus Mr. Crowley. Who wants to go first?
I'm raising my hand. So despite the fact that Little Dolls, now coming from the drummer aspect, I mean, it's what 16 bars of just killer. Ozzy said, so nice, do it twice, right? But I mean, I gotta say, obviously, Mr. Crowley, that's an epic tune. That is, I mean, so slow and just heavy. It's like the thickest syrup you could ever dip your Izzy, you'll appreciate this. I almost called you Ozzy. Izzy, you'll appreciate this. It's the thickest syrup that you could dip your your French toast in, right? Mr. Crowley, bam, 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 all in the downbeats, all back, laid back. And so my vote is Mr. Crowley all day long, despite the fact that there's awesome drums at the beginning of Little Dolls.
Rayen.
Mr. Crowley. And again, this is also, like I said, going back to being a kid, Mr. Crowley was the first time that somebody really started talking about devil stuff, because you could associate a real name. He was singing about a real guy that practiced devil stuff. And, when I was a kid growing up in the South, I was like, wow, this is crazy. This dude's singing about this Crowley dude. And you know, if you strip even all that away, which I think the first record, when you include that, makes a perfect heavy metal record, or hard rock record for you, Izzy. Mr. Crowley, to me, again, Ozzy's vocals were so dialed in. Like you said, Mr. Crowley, like how he came in, it just was the tone, the delivery, the meaning. It just felt like Ozzy had something to prove. And that was one of those songs on that record that stood out for me. And it Little Dolls is a cool song. I don't have anything against it. It to me, it marked a down slope in that second record, but it was still better than most of the songs on any of the other records. If that makes sense to me. I like Little Dolls, but Mr. Crowley all day.
Dude, that keyboard intro is just so fucking iconic. That song, it's slow, it's methodical, it's fucking heavy as fuck, and still in the hard rock realm. See how I got that in there? The hard rock realm, baby. Dude, it's Mr. Crowley. It's a Zach Morris no brainer.
Still in his set list too.
Yeah.
Hey, we're making good radio, Izzy.
Exactly. Mr. Villegas.
Yeah, I concur. Little Dolls, cool tune. Not bad. It showed some progress, I guess, in the songwriting. There was a good middle 8 part and a really cool, different section. But as a classic, Ozzy, as classic as they come, Mr. Crowley all day. That, like you mentioned, that organ intro, which Bob Daisley says some guy before the band ever formed, really, they had a guy come in. I forget who it was. I think it may have been one of the keyboardists from Rainbow at the time, who came in and kind of just tried his hand at something, and they kind of kept that once they recorded it for real. They Bob Daisley had all tapes. He taped everything. He's got some incredible tapes of the sessions. Both of those sessions.
Wow. I'm curious to know what you thought of the Mr. Crowley actual solo. Did you think it held up to some of his stronger solos, or do you think that it kind of fell a little bit?
I liked it because it was definitely written out, and it's something that I still teach to this day, because it really shows an understanding of the chords and playing with the chords, and it didn't fall flat at all. I think it was appropriate for the song.
Yeah.
And I dig it. I dig it to this day. It's still a great solo. It sounds really good.
I agree.
I think that's one of the things that I forgot to mention about Randy before, when we were just kind of talking about random stuff, is I was talking about his rhythm playing, but as far as his solos go, that's another thing that I loved about his playing, because it wasn't show off over the top. It fit for what it was supposed to be. Yeah, it was flashy. It was, he shredded a little bit, but it fit. Everything fit. He wasn't playing fast just to play fast.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I started playing guitar around that time when Diary came out and Blizzard and Diary came out. And so I learned a lot from Randy Rhoads. And I think to this day, I kind of very much think, chord structure, and, he's playing notes that fit the chord structure. It's not just, there are definitely elements of okay, from this bar to this bar, he's following the chords perfectly, and he's making great melodies, and is very melodic. But then from this bar to this bar, he shreds on the minor pentatonic scale. And I just learning from that is kind of how I grew up, learning to play guitar.
I'm going to run to the chat room really quick. Sledgehammer checking in. Bruce also says the soloing in Crowley is superb. Sledgehammer checking in from Wisconsin, inside the cheddar curtain, says the cheese factor is always an indisputable argument.
Cheese has no place in music, in my opinion, without comic parody. Oh my God, I hate cheese. I just got mad for a second. Pledge, that's why we fucking love you, man. All right, so we have two songs that are a wash, a tie. So right now it is 3-0 in favor of Blizzard of Oz, but that could change with these last 3 songs. We'll see how it goes. Moving on to No Bone Movies versus Tonight. Luis, you want to kick this one off?
Yeah, sure. Tonight is probably my least favorite song on both of the albums.
Oh wow, okay.
It's a very sappy ballad. I don't know if it's written very well. I haven't heard it in a while, but I just from memory. Tonight is it just? It's a cool tune, but it's a little on the sappy side. No Bone Movies, also not a awesome song either. Not a great tune, but at least it's it's done with a light heart, and it's a funny tune. It's a funny what it's about is funny, and it was I think the only song that Lee Kerslake helped write on because most of the songs were already written before Lee Kerslake joined, right?
Yeah, actually, that's the only song on either of those records that has Ozzy, Randy, Daisley, and Lee.
And Lee Kerslake, yeah.
Yep.
So that was cool. I mean, I would say by a slight margin, I like No Bone Movies.
TPF.
Yeah, so I'm just checking these out because I haven't heard them in so long. So, the No Bones movie kind of reminds me of. I'm trying to think of really the right band, but I don't want to say like The Sweet or something. But it's got that British pop kind of style to me a little bit sort of different than that. The Prince of Darkness and that metal. It's a little bit more kind of uppy and kind of poppy. Whereas I'm sort of a sucker for kind of a mid-tempo tune, dare I say ballad. And so just kind of listening to them, like A and B in them right now, I'm going Tonight.
All right.
And I'm writing it down, so it's legally binding and tending.
Mr. Apple Pie.
As Luis, I want to ask you, because you're the only guitar player in this group besides Izzy, who only knows Ace Frehley songs.
He's not wrong.
But for real, Luis, I think tell me if you would agree with this. I think No Bone Movies makes more sense on that record. It just felt like the next natural song. But I thought some of the music arrangements in Tonight was interesting. Will you tell me if you thought the same thing, or if you just thought it just laid flat for you?
No Bone Movies definitely felt like kind of a jam, like they were having fun, and it was kind of written maybe kind of quickly and recorded fairly quickly. I don't know if that's true, but that's what it feels like. Like not much attention was paid. It's not that kind of a song. Tonight, like I said, Tonight, I remember the chorus. Tonight, yeah, I think they put a lot more time into the lyrics, into the songwriting of that one.
I think that was one of Randy's kind of like secretly better songs, where the rest of the production fell flat, and that's why, to me, if you ask for my vote, No Bone Movies wins. But I still say that Randy shined on Tonight more than people give him credit for.
It could be. I'm not doing what Troy's doing and listening to the songs, but that's
I'm not
what
cheating.
I remember. It's not one of my favorite songs. It's, like I said, it's probably my least favorite song of them all, just because I'm not a huge ballad, Ozzy ballad fan. I think in general, but he had some good ones, but maybe not this early. Later on, there's some great ones.
I have never been a fan of No Bone Movies. I've never enjoyed that song. I am a sap for a great fucking mid-tempo ballad. I am going with Tonight.
All right.
And Alex Kane has joined us.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Alex Kane, welcome. Once he gets his audio turned on. Oh, wait, what? Hi, buddy.
God, I can hear your godforsaken, awful voice. That's amazing.
Awesome. Alex Kane is here. Before we get into this, we have Troy and I have a very important question for you. Did you know about these life, sex, and death videos that just recently surfaced on YouTube?
Yeah, I put them there. No. No. Which ones?
So I happen to notice about.
Hey, Troy, how you doing, buddy? How come I don't see him?
You don't see me?
If you're on your phone.
Oh, now I do. Okay,
Yeah.
hey, buddy.
Swipe
man?
swipe left on the video on your phone. It should bring everybody up.
No, always swipe right when you see me, Alex Kane. We're a super match. I happen to, I got to tell you, out of all the weird algorithms that are out there on all the social medias, YouTube has the best. I can go search a couple different things and I'll get the coolest suggestions. And due to my stalking of Life, Sex, and Death, a band that I not only have seen live, but, Chicago roots and Alex Kane from Life, Sex, and Death, the band, well, I should say somebody put up a video. I sent the link to Izzy. And if I just do Life, Sex, and Death, just a couple days ago, 4 videos were put up. And it's all brand new. Like these were produced videos. It's not that somebody had taken live footage and added the audio. These look like they were produced videos that were actually perhaps never released. And I'm going to click on the link here, and I don't see you guys while I do this, but telephone call. Okay, I believe I saw that one, but there's School for Fools. Saw that one. Tank and some fucking shit ass I never saw. And these are video produced videos. I mean, are you aware?
What did you type in?
Alex, I'll just send you the link. He sent it to me.
Oh, okay, all right, cool. Email, right?
Yeah, I'll just email it to you. And while I'm doing that, No Bone Movies or Tonight?
I'm gonna go with No Bone Movies.
Oh, you broke the tie.
Yeah, so now we have the tiebreaker.
Yeah,
so,
we might have to here really quick.
Oh, is it going back to Izzy?
You should catch him up, Izzy.
I will. And Alex, I'll send you.
I would rather remain ignorant and just babble pointlessly about things I have no business.
Okay, before we get into that and get you caught up in this competition, I mean, just think, if you're gonna dive into one of these records, which one are you going for? Which one is your favorite?
Flying Highs on Blizzard, not on Blizzard, on Diary, right?
Correct.
I can't separate my emotional connection and what it meant to me personally from any sort of quality in the music. So Over the Mountain, I spent 100 hours trying to figure out and play. Flying High again, the same thing, but also Revelation, Mother Earth, and fucking Mr. Crowley and everything. But because I started playing around the time that Diary came out, I'm actually going to go with that one.
So you're going with Diary. Okay, wow.
I'm going with Diary. Also, I knew the story that Randy wasn't happy with his guitar playing on the second album because a lot of that was considered to be scratch solos. And I'm like, that was your scratch solo?
Damn. See, this is another fucking fact that we did not have in the first part of the show. So, Alex, we're going to get you caught up. We're going to go, we'll do this lightning round style. I don't know.
I'm afraid.
Over the Mountain.
Over the Mountain. Oh, God, that's hard. Over the Mountain. Just because it was more challenging.
Okay, yeah. That broke the tie for the first song. Flying High Again versus Crazy Train.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Nope.
Wow, I didn't know this was going to be like fucking Caligula. Wow, 2 classics. What do you like better? I Am the Walrus or Dear Prudence? Wow.
This could be like those last minute overnight votes.
Yeah, I know exactly. Well, I got about 5 suitcases under my bed, so I already know who the winner is. So what is it? Crazy Train and I don't know. No, Crazy Train and Flying High.
Yeah, Crazy Train against Flying High. Track 2 versus track 2.
I feel like I'm betraying part of my childhood, but I'm gonna go with Crazy Train. But I know that I spent more time on Flying High. Like that was one of the first tunes where I was like, "Whoa, I can actually play this."
All right, you can't.
You
kill
guys all know that feeling.
Oh, absolutely. I know it very well. You Can't Kill Rock and Roll versus Goodbye to Romance.
I'm gonna go with Goodbye to Romance because of Randy.
Okay, then we go. We skipped D and dropped it out to even out 8 versus 8. So we've got Suicide Solution versus Believer.
Believer, because it. Wait, hang on. Yeah, no, I'm going with Believer.
That was
just because it creeped me out more.
Little Dolls versus Mr. Crowley.
I'm going with Mr. Crowley.
Yep, that's a Zach Morris no-brainer. Then you just broke the tie on No Bone Movies versus Tonight. So now we get into the nitty-gritty. We've got one. Blizzard is dominating right now.
Is it really? Okay.
It is, and I think but okay, so those 3, yeah.
You want me to change my votes, or should I go protest?
No.
I'll go protest.
We can finish this off the correct way. Now we have Tonight versus Revelation Mother Earth.
I'm gonna go with Revelation Mother Earth.
I thought we did Tonight. Did you say Tonight?
No, I'm sorry. My bad. SATO versus Revelation Mother Earth. My bad. I apologize. Thank you for correcting me.
I'm still going with Revelation only because I remember the first time I tried to figure out the very end of the solo, and I just kept turning up the volume, and it actually butts up right against. Wait, is it Revelation Mother Earth, or is that the follow-up tune? Well, either way, I'm going with that one.
All right. TPF, what do you got, buddy?
Well, as I do a little bit of research here, does anybody know what SATO, S-A-T-O, stands for, or what people possibly thinks it might stand?
It stands for.
I have the answer from the Bob Daisley book.
It is.
So before you reveal that, let's hear what everybody else says.
Okay. Luis, what do you got?
No. He actually knows the answer. So, I mean, have you done so? I just did a little research.
It's Sharon. It's just who there's like
her name, Sharon and Teresa Osborne.
Yeah. No. There was like a dinner group, and it was just basically the names of everybody. It was the first initial of everybody at that dinner group.
What Bob Daisley says in his book was he wrote the song, or he wrote the lyrics at least, and he had titled the song "The Voyage." It was just a kind of a placeholder name, and then he was told, "Oh, the name of the song is SATO." Sharon had Ozzy's ear at that point already, and what it was Ozzy was still married at the time, and Sharon was going out with somebody named Anthony something or other, and Ozzy was still married to his first wife Thelma, but Ozzy and Sharon were having this affair, so they named it after Sharon, Anthony, and Ozzy, and Thelma, or Thelma and Ozzy. And that's what SAT, the initials SATO stand for.
And the internet backs him up on that. So
yeah, I'm just reading some weird songmeetings.com. So some people think that it stood for Sailing Around the Ocean. Other people thought it was his love for his wife Sharon and Teresa Osborne.
So that's what I actually just read.
There's a Sail Away to Oz. That's what I remember hearing. Sail Away to Oz.
There's nobody that thinks it's like, dude, it's Satan and the Ozzy.
Yes, that's exactly what I think.
which by the way is my choice. The other one feels a little bit like a Caius jam to me, which is nothing wrong with that. It's a little bit stoner rock, so I'm going with Sailing Around the Ocean or Sharon and the Ozzy Satan Osbourne Train. Going for that one.
All
Train
right.
Osbourne.
Whatever Boz thinks, I'm going for that choice.
And back to the countdown. TPF.
I just gave you my choice. SATO.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. The other one's the stoner jam thing. I can't really jive with it.
Rayen.
I think if you listen to the Mother, please forgive me, like the Ozzy was so dialed in with his vocal. I don't know what he was going through, but he was feeling that line. And I think that's one of the only times that Ozzy really stood neck and neck with Randy as far as shining. So I'm going to go with is it Remember? Help me out, Izzy.
Revelation Mother Earth.
Revelation Mother Earth. I'm sorry. I had some notes I couldn't read. But
Unity.
Revelation Mother Earth, I'm going with that because I think Ozzy really over-delivered vocally on that song. I think if you look at the music, you could kind of switch in and out of that. But if you're going Ozzy songs, I think Ozzy really brought, and Troy and Luis and Alex, and even Izzy, you guys know, singers can either really bring it or they can mail it in. There's really not an in-between. And it's hard to say when that he didn't really bring it on Revolution Mother Earth. That's just my opinion. I'd love to hear what you think, Alex. Please.
No, I actually never thought of it, but I mean that you say it, there's emotional content there that may be lacking in some of the other stuff that he sung. Yeah, I agree with that totally.
Because I'm a vocally mailing it in kind of guy. If you've ever listened to me sing, as epic as Revelation Mother Earth is, and the live version on Tribute is obviously fucking amazing too. But I love SATO. I got to go SATO.
Okay.
All right.
So it makes this country great.
That's right. And Rayen, you were Revelation Mother Earth
all day.
Luis Villegas for the fucking tiebreaker. The
All right.
Grammy nominated Luis Villegas.
Wow, good for you, man. That's awesome.
Revelation Mother Earth. I remember while listening to that first album, I remember I considered it a masterpiece. I'd never really heard something with such a beautiful acoustic guitar and a slamming electric guitar and that
riff
piano piece and this really cool piano solo in the middle. It just to me was like a masterpiece, I thought at the time. Actually, I remember thinking when the guitar is playing, you hear the squeaks of the acoustic guitar. You're ding ding ding, and you hear, and I always thought, what is that? Is that? I think they're opening up wine bottles. It sounded like someone was pumping the cork.
They probably were too. Had its own track, doubled it.
So when I think of Revelation Mother Earth, and I remember the feelings that I got as a just a fan, I don't get that from SATO. I love the song. I hear it a lot whenever I play that, but I never skip it. But it doesn't strike me as, if I'm putting them against each other, I would say Revelation Mother Earth for sure.
All right. And now we move on to the final track on each one. We've got Steal Away the Night versus, and we already know my pick on this. I think this is the Randy Rhoads masterpiece, Diary of a Madman. That I don't think there's any other choice personally. Diary of a Madman.
Well, I'll jump in and say, I think Diary of Madman 2, that would be my pick, because I think that was a slam dunk, just complete collaborative thing where nobody was taking a break on that song. And I actually think that should have been moved up on the record a lot farther than the last song of the record. So Diary of a Madman for me, because I think Ozzy, Randy, Bob, and I'm not sure who else was on that record, but whoever recorded that, they were in the complete zone when they recorded Diary of a Madman. So I agree with you.
Luis?
Yeah. Again, according to the Bob Daisley book, he and Randy and Lee kind of really had the idea for this really different song, a song that used different time signatures and really kind of was involved, and kind of had its start as that what's that piece, that classical piece, as it's escaping me now, but this piece that Ozzy used to come out to.
I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah,
with the organ, the organs part, yeah.
Which was Bob Daisley's idea, also. But
is that O Fortuna?
I'm sorry.
Is that O Fortuna or no?
O for two for
Fortuna. I'm just looking up the intro, which happened to be this keyboard intro that I saw on the setlist.fm. I just was wondering if that was what you were referring to.
No, I was referring to Carmina Burana,
okay.
the Orff piece. In any case, they presented it to
What
Ozzy.
are you two talking about? Orffs? I'm lost.
He's smart, Alex.
They presented
Boy,
it to
I'm out of this conversation.
Flamenco versus acorns.
They presented it to Ozzy, and Ozzy's like, "Who the fuck do you think I am, Frank Zappa? I can't sing that off. It's 7 bars per measure." He was not for it, and they're like, "Dude, well, you got to do it." Well, and they helped him sing the words or the because it's not just your regular 4/4.
It's not in 4/4. Yeah. It's like 3/4, 7/6 time.
But yeah, that's the masterpiece for Diary of a Madman. That's by far. I mean, the discrepancy on Steal Away and Diary of a Madman. I think Steal Away is also another jammer. Great too. Love the two. The Diary of a Madman is classic.
Can I ask you, Luis, before you get off of that, you and Alex, you as well. You guys are the guitar players in this whole thread, along with you, Izzy. Can you guys tell me what you think, stylistically wise? Was there a big departure from the first record to the second record? Because for me, it felt like there was. It felt like it was going into a little bit of a different direction, stylistically wise. But guitar player wise, Alex and Luis, will you tell me what you guys think of those two records?
Me or you, Luis?
Let me jump into this. I think the first record is more of a fucking balls out rock and roll jam record, where the second record is a little bit more. I don't want to say proggy, but more fine tuned.
Yeah, I think I would agree with Izzy's interpretation. I think the first album is definitely get in there and slam them out. Steal Away and No Bone Movies, definitely jammers. But there was a little bit more thought put into the songwriting, maybe, whether for better or for worse on some songs on the second album. But I think, songwriting wise, maybe not a departure, but they're kind of trying to,
evolution.
A good time, make sure it sounds good.
What do you guys' Randy Rhoads Ozzy highlight, where you say this is the moment that it didn't get better than this? Luis and then Alex, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Oof, pick me second. I have to think about that.
Alex.
Yeah, well, I just say a bunch of bullshit, so I don't think.
That's why I love it.
I would say, what do you mean? Like purely from like, if you listen to it and you go, my word, this is really a well-executed, recorded, etc. song, or what it means to us as fans of rock and roll?
As a guitar player, listen to Ozzy and Randy really trying to sink in together. Was there a moment that really sunk into you as a guitar player where you were like, though they were locked in during this? I'm just curious to hear from you guys.
Well, I think I think that Diary was an evolution from Blizzard. And I think particularly the song Diary of a Madman shows us where Randy wanted to head more toward.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and Flying High was like, okay, here's another Van Halen song, but now with Ozzy singing. But I love that song because it reminded me of the rush that I got from listening to Van Halen. You know what I mean? Because it was kind of with that sus chord and all of that stuff, you know. But I do think that Randy was probably like, okay, we can sing about penises and whatever the fuck, or we can make some really good music. That's why I'm learning how to get better at this thing. So I believe the Diary showed where he would have headed. I would say Diary is an example. I would also say Mr. Crowley is an example of the two of them pushing each other in a way that benefited the music. You know what I mean? Where the greatest ideas won rather than whoever was yelling the loudest, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does that answer the question? I don't know if it does.
Yeah, no, Mr. I said that earlier when we were talking about Mr. Crowley. I felt like that was one of the songs that Randy and Ozzy connect from a vocalist guitar player really connected, and it's hard to deny that they were locked in on that song. That's just my opinion.
And they both had like the same goal from where it should end up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they knew this is what this tune needs. I totally agree with that. Mr. Crowley, I do think Flying High again, though. Different albums. So
what about favorite riff, Alex, Luis? What's your favorite Randy composition?
Oof. I mean, I can only tell you what blew up my teenage heart, and that would be Revelation, Mother Earth.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'd have to say those two, Revelation, Mother Earth, and Diary of a Madman, because they really were, you know, where you look at a song like Tonight or Little Dolls, they really thought about, okay, we're going to try to really write a good rock song, I guess, maybe, or a rock ballad. But Diary of a Madman and Revelation, Mother Earth, I think Randy Rhoads really brought out all the classical influence that he was learning at the time, and he wanted to push the music towards. And Ozzy on those two particular songs really was very, very much poured his soul out into his vocals on those songs. Yeah. Like you mentioned, Mother, please forgive them, for they know not what they do. Very heartfelt.
Yeah.
And as somebody who plays A chords, fucking Suicide Solution, that's my riff. That it's like that
really?
Or that or I don't know. God, they're just so because it's
but
so
also
simple.
think about and
it's all so good. Well, Alex, let's get to you then. I'm assuming Diary over Steal Away.
Diary, yeah, sure, yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, I thought I'd answered. Yeah, no, I would definitely. I mean, Steal Away appeals more to the knuckle dragging, you know, drunk rock guitar player in me. But I think that it's a greater artistic statement what they did with Diary.
Mr. Troy Patrick Farrell.
You know, just a little bit opposite of what Rayen said about the fact that the song could have been moved up in the playlist a little bit. I think it's actually genius that the song was the last song on the album, actually. And I did a little bit of research, and I haven't verified this, but they say the intro's in 4/4, then there's a theme in 9/8, 8/8, ending in 6/8 with a verse in 7/4, the chorus in 6/8. So, you know, they definitely went some different spots on that song. And, you know, despite the fact that the title track of the album is the very last song, and it's probably the most, you know, creative and the most risky, you know, because we all like to clap. Ozzy likes to clap. He can't
but
clap
not
to that
well,
song.
though.
He can't clap to that song. Yeah, and like Luis said, he says, what do you think, man? Frank Zappa? You know what I mean? So the fact that they pulled that off and put that on there and made it the last song, is I almost feel like the MVP of that entire album is that song. And so my vote is for the title track, Diary of the Madman, the final song on that album. And with that being said, I don't know if you've done your tally, but I'm looking at my tally and I'm all tied up here. So
really, I'm at 6-2 because we got
tied up, bro.
Okay, hold on. Where are you tied
Not
up?
that way, Alex. Not that. Well,
More election fraud. That's all I'm hearing.
Because I've got Over the Mountain. Oh wait, track 1 on Diary, which is Over the Mountain, Over I Don't Know, and I've got Diary, Over Steal Away, and all the rest is all the way down.
Well, I've got Over, Crazy, You Can't, Suicide, Crowley, Tonight, SATO, and Diary. So I've got 4 and 4, man.
Well, I'm gonna trust you more than I trust me. So we got 4 and 4.
I would too, actually. I know both of you.
I think we oh my God, we're at a fucking tie. We are actually at a tie. How do we do the tiebreaker?
Were there any bonus tracks? B-sides.
Or
bonus and the re-releases or the anniversary editions, I believe.
Yeah, but the bonus on Blizzard was
you looking at me, looking at you.
Side. It was called One Up the B-side. It was unreleased. I think it was released much later, but it features Randy Rhoads.
Yeah, but okay, so the 2011 reissue has You Looking at Me, and the expanded bonus tracks, You Looking at Me, Looking at You, Goodbye to Romance, and Randy Rhoads outtakes from Blizzard of Oz Sessions. And the second disc on Diary is a live show from that tour.
Are we voting on that?
I don't think we can.
Well, I mean, it's apples and oranges. Like as a nerd, I would prefer the Randy outtakes and the unreleased track.
I agree.
So
we're right. Case closed.
Just see you guys. Thanks. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have just gotten word from promoter Leo DeRusha that this has been declared a draw, a split decision.
Come on.
Oh, and who is he to say who won?
Dude, it was verified by Stanley Blackburn.
That's racist.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We have a tie. We have a fucking tie.
Izzy,
flip a coin.
Since we're celebrating Randy Rhoads, why don't we ask the 2 guitar players to settle the tie for us? See if they agree or just
naked Greek wrestling. That's how we settle it.
I would say like
Alex,
at the Tropicana.
Alex, I did not know that you were in Life, Sex, and Death.
Well, that's why I'm still broke.
We used to be
cred though, right?
And back in the early '90s, and I think we used to share a rehearsal room with you guys
in downtown rehearsal. Yeah. It was with Greg.
Yes, exactly. That's the guy who
he owned it and stuff, and he was managing us at the time.
Yeah. Sometimes we'd come in. Stanley was sleeping on our couch or on the couch that was there.
Well, Greg was charging us a separate fee for that.
For staying there. Oh,
for in your room.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was. I mean, everybody that was in the band was integral to the band. But I mean, the truth is, without coming off like, "Whoa, check me out" or whatever. Essentially, I did like 80% of the music. Stan did like 80% of the words and melodies. But like Telephone Call, I don't know if you remember the titles or whatever, but like that's mostly my song, and We're Here Now is mostly my song. Yavol is my chorus and my music. Fucking Shit Ass, that's except for the riff and the arrangement, the chorus was Stanley's. So we, you know what I mean? Like the bridge from Tank is all me, vocal melody and chords, but he did Rise Above all by himself. But I don't think that if you put any other bass player or any other drummer in there, that the chemistry would have been the same. I mean, we were completely dysfunctional. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we should have been much more successful, if only for the reason that like we were so incapable of becoming successful. You know, you would think,
Right.
These guys dancing, bum, come on, what the hell? And I actually have to say something about that. We never said he was homeless. That was people other than ourselves. And what Stanley was much more than a dancing bum, but that was the perception that people who were looking to write us off as garbage were like, oh yeah, a dancing bum. And I'm like, well, we got 5/4 parts. What do you mean? Yeah, he smells bad, but we're still in 5.
Alex, can I ask you something? And Luis, besides just in the spirit of the conversation, Troy and I talked earlier about drummers. If you had to take Randy out, the guitar players in this, including you, Izzy, who was your favorite guitar player besides Randy that played with Ozzy?
Zach.
Now, is that counting everybody?
Yeah. Jakey Lee, Zach Wild, the whole nine.
Oh, but you're not talking about like how, because like they were trying to get Shanker and George Lynch was in there.
No,
like you're not saying like any.
The main guys, you know, like John Holmes, Zach Wild.
Dude, I mean, you can count Brad Gillis. He was on the fucking Speak of the Devil record.
All right. Yes. Well, I'm gonna leave it to you guys. You guys are the guitar players. I want to hear it.
I go Zach. I go Zach.
Other than Randy, we're saying.
Yeah, other than Randy, I go Zach.
I loved Jake. I did
too.
Yeah, but I think the proof is in the pudding. I mean, Jake was a cooler live guy. I mean, Zach's cool live, but Jake was great live, and he played good. And he had some really cool, weird shit like that stuff where like he would bar with his thumb and then play that way.
Christ.
And he had a lot of cool tricks and stuff. But Zach, I agree, Zach, despite of whatever my feel about Jake, I'm with Zach.
Yeah, I think I agree as well. I think Zach, he did some great songwriting too. He complimented Ozzy. He came in as a huge Black Sabbath fan, so he knew where Ozzy came from. So he was able to contribute appropriately. And he's a great guitar player, amazing guitar player. And no wonder he stayed with him for a very, very long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Troy? Troy, you got a favorite besides Randy?
Troy is gone.
Did Troy leave it?
Troy's like, the election's over. I'm out of here.
I think Troy's shooting up in the bathroom or getting a blowjob, one of the two, you know. And God bless him.
His boyfriend finally came home.
Yes, his boyfriend finally came through. Until Troy gets back, let's go around the horn. Rayen, you got anything to pimp?
No, just early Ray Apple Pie record where, we put it out in July, kind of waiting to see how the world turns. And, in the meantime, just staying productive, writing songs like everybody else. But you can go to earlyray.com and find out all my stuff. And there you have it.
There you go. Alex Kane, you got a lot of shit going on. Enough's enough. And, fucking Shark Island.
Just to be serious for 1 second. Okay, I'm done now. No. Yes, a lot of music. Yeah. And a lot of merch. And I'm really grateful. But it's off topic, so forgive me. But one thing that has happened is I've been forced to ask myself what's really important versus what I think is important, what I want to be important. Mm-hmm. I'm taking care of my mom and her 12-year-old dog, and she lost her husband at the end of last year before COVID. That's how her most recent year started. She doesn't drive, internet, phones, none of that stuff. 81-year-old woman. So I'm taking care of her as much as she lets me. She's as ornery as I am. Now I know where I get it. But so I actually forced myself to take care of my family, what's the little that's left of it, and fit the music around that. That's just what I've learned from this experience. And I've also learned survive, adapt or die.
Yep.
You know, so if you're going to sit around and wait for somebody else to fix shit, you're done. Get out of the fucking way. We got shit to do. And I did discover that there is a market. By going even more into the independent underground as far as like selling shit directly to fans without the excuse of some paternalistic record company in the way, I've actually found, and I won't give the figure, but I've definitely found that I can make more money by being autonomous than sort of otherwise. Having said that, Shark Island, which is a record that I largely co-wrote with Richard Black, the singer, and I produced and did all the editing and background vocals, and I'm in my bedroom. It was crazy, all the guitars and everything, but that we just got a record deal from being an independent thing, so we got picked up by a label, so that's coming out. You know, and you were saying about the early Ray thing coming out in July. The last Enuff's Enough album, which is another band I play with, came out in June, and it's kind of like, well, why don't we just fucking smash the hard drive for all the good it's going to do releasing an album right now, you know? So, you know, that is what it is, which is a shame because it's a really good record. You know, I wish, you know, people have the chance to hear it, or if it, maybe we do another song and re-release it. And, you know, and there's numerous bands that I play with. Pump 5 is another one, and they're sort of like a Foo Fighter-y Cheap Trick thing. So we all, you know, anything even near Cheap Trick is going to work for me. So,
yeah.
Right. And then obviously I do want to mention the Darbies, which is a band that I produce and I manage, and we fight like family, and we say the most heinous shit. And then when we're done saying that shit, we go, you know, I'm really sorry. That was uncalled for. I had no business saying that. And then they go, yeah, I know, we said some stupid shit too. The upshot of that is every time I work with them, either on the shows or musically or whatever, in spite of whatever personality conflicts we have, the music is always magic. So we got a 6 or 7 song EP that we're probably going to put out at the beginning of next year. One of the songs, Golden Blue, is out there now, and it's doing, you know, we're following up with a video and stuff. And I'm really happy with the music. I'm happy with the chemistry. And I love them like the baby brothers I never had. So that, and buy my fucking merch, because otherwise I'm going to kill myself on Zoom, and you'll all be accountable.
Yes, you can get your Life, Sex, and Death merch straight through fucking Alex Kane.
Yeah, go to me. I don't fucking, I deal with everything. So
Luis, what do you got, buddy?
Geez, been working in, we really, you know,
Hold on. I'm getting an echo. Who's got the echo?
Hello,
Troy.
Hello.
All right,
it's I have a microphone with a windscreen. I'm a pro, bro.
There was a echo back going on, but we're good now. Luis, what do you got, buddy?
Yeah, you know, just keeping busy during this time. Obviously, no live stuff. I've been doing some private events, but I think I'm probably not going to be doing. I think I'm doing something next week, but that's the last thing I'll be doing. I don't think I want to take anything anymore, but there's obviously no public events. So I'm concentrating a lot on my studio work. I'm doing some collaborations. I'm doing some, even recording electric guitar. Fuck, you know, if you got to record electric guitar, I got to record electric guitar. Most of what I do is the nylon string Spanish guitar. But I mean, I grew up playing electric guitar, so you know, I still can do it. So if anybody needs any electric guitar stuff on there, then call Alex, and if he can't do it, then come.
Yeah.
There you go.
Which means just call him right away.
Released a couple of new videos with Terry Luce from formerly of Great White, and now with XYZ. But he's got his side project called Gypsy Dreams that I play in, and we just released a brand new video called it's a cover of the
Boys of Summer
song, "Boys of Summer."
Yep.
Ooh, I love that song.
Made its debut last week, and it's doing really well. I'm producing a song for Wanda Ortiz, who, if you guys don't know her, she's the bass player for the Iron Maidens, the Iron Maiden tribute.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, I'm familiar with their work.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got stuff.
There's something illegal about that statement.
My liver is familiar as well.
It was something for her, and I have a Christmas album that I've had for years, and it always sells really well on during this time, of course, on my website, luisvillegas.com. It's called Guitarras de Navidad, which is like flamenco versions of all your favorite Christmas songs.
Great idea.
I'll have a blue Christmas, I say, without you. Shit like that.
Shit like that.
Just like that.
Without the singing.
Without the singing, of course, of course. Just so you know, I see that rack mount behind you. Beater is now doing rack mountable stuff too. I'm just saying, just letting you know.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, very good, very good. TPF, Purple Troy. What do you got, buddy?
I love you. You love me. We're a happy family. One thing that I noticed about the original 3 here in the Izzy Presley, another effing podcast, is that so just above your right shoulder, my left view, you've got this little ace mask. You can point to it, right? Can you point to your mask there, right? And then I noticed just behind Rayen, he's got some weird voodoo head, right? And then I have just kind of right here some sort of weird Mexican wrestling mask. So we all have some weird voodoo in our backgrounds, which is very awesome. Hey, before I get into what I've got going on, which isn't very much, so it'll be very fast. Alex, I wanted to kind of revisit, and forgive me if I was in the baño while you guys are talking about this, but the fact that these 4 videos have either surfaced or resurfaced, I'm unfamiliar with the fact that LSD had this many, like, these look like they're professionally produced videos that maybe just never got released. Do you know what the origin is of these, or do you have to see them? Because
I gotta see them now. I know that when we first got signed, God, what was his name? Bumbrock something. But when we were told that we were going to be the next Faith No More meets Guns N' Roses, right? I don't know if anybody's ever had a record deal, but that's what they tell you. Like, whoever was big, like within a year of when you got signed, oh, you're the next Nirvana, if you got signed anywhere in like 93 to 91. So that didn't end up happening, obviously. But there was a bunch of stuff that was being filmed, and I do know factually that there was a version of fucking shit ass. Is there a pile of shoes in that somewhere? Do you remember?
I'd have to go back and see it.
I'll have to
literally,
see it.
So yesterday it popped up on my radar, and it had been posted 3 days prior. So I think we're 4 days now. And Izzy sent you the link to check it out. There's
all right, I'm gonna do that.
There's 4 videos. I remember MTV having, I believe, was it
there was a video for Tank. I think it would have been Tank.
Yeah. Tank was like the first like official.
Did you guys do one for School for Fools?
We did a real one, yeah.
Okay, because these videos, they don't look like somebody took fan footage and matched it. They look like legit videos that were made that maybe just never got into rotation, or they were released and just didn't.
Well, I wonder if this is the stuff that Telephone Call. That's legit, right? Oh, 4 days ago.
Yeah, these are all.
No, these are actually Tank. Fucking. You know what this is? These are the 3 videos are the official ones that we did. We did a one for Tank, we did one for Schools for Fools, and then we did one for Telephone Call. And then this fucking shit ass, I'm gonna assume, is what I was talking about that the other guy did. But since I'm on the call, my internet's super slow, so I can't see it now.
Yeah.
But
no,
that's
okay.
what
I mean, obviously that probably would have been an MTV one.
No, this is, yes. No, it's come up now. This is the first video that Warner Brothers ever made. And then the other three, here, let me stop it. And the other three are actually like the official MTV videos.
And you know, so I don't think that a lot of people had seen anything. So I mean, what are your thoughts that somebody has these and they just put them out? Is this surprising to you, or?
Does it say who did it?
It's some sort of video vault page that seems to have just a sort of a collection of videos, but they put all four up just
video
a few days ago.
vault.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting because they look like official videos that you know, and you know, I'm a fan of the band. I'm very aware of the band, and I had only seen maybe 2 out of the 4 videos. So when I saw those, I was like, oh, these look like legit videos that were made for promotion, and you know, and
they're pretty crisp looking.
Oh no, it's great. I mean, it's interesting that somebody has sourced these, and it's interesting that they came up. And when Izzy said, "Hey, Alex is going to come on and talk about this Ozzy thing," I go, "Dude, the timing's great. Have you seen these videos for this?" Because I didn't know if you were aware of these or if you'd seen. I didn't know that they'd been uploaded recently like that, but I was aware that they did exist. All 4 of those, and I figured that that's what they would be. When I moved to England, which would have been in '99, right after the Jesse Camp thing, just because I knew that was going to crash and burn, and I didn't want to get any on me, frankly. And you know, I had money. The what?
I was just saying, and we love Jesse, by the way.
Oh, interesting sidebar. I mean, by what happened with Life, Sex, and Death, and Stanley being who he was in quote unquote real life, Jesse felt safe around me because he was also portraying a character that was part of his personality, but not all of his personality. Right, so he and I actually, as a result, he already knew that I was used to making sure that, you know, some guy didn't have a nervous breakdown because he was playing a role, you know. But when I moved, though, I was very surprised to find that over the course of time, the name in about 5 years from leaving, Life, Sex, and Death found like another audience, and you know, young people started asking me about it and whatever. And very honestly, you know, and we're all musicians. All I wanted from the experience was that it was music that didn't fade away and turn into like, oh yeah, remember 1992? You know, like I wanted it to be something that was beyond the time and the technology. So the fact that here we are in 2000 and nearly 21, almost 30 years later, and you know, I mean, like Manson bought a shirt for me, Corey Taylor has a shirt, you know what I mean? I'm like, well, why don't you fucking have me write some of the tunes, man?
Yeah, right.
Have us open up, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we go, I just want to read this. This comes from a Facebook page, Van Haler's Collectors Memorabilia Facebook page. Keenan Neighbors posted this. He said, I've got some sad news from Ed's guitar tech, Zeke Clark. 2 days ago, he said someone broke into his storage locker in Nashville and wiped him out. Said $50,000 with the guitars, amps, and music history, etc. I'm totally devastated. Discovered it on December 3rd. And yeah, that's fucking horrible. That's like a lot of well, I'm sure there was some Eddie stuff in there.
Oh, jeez.
I would think if there's some legit Eddie stuff, the 50,000 is a very low number, actually.
Yeah, well,
considering that some duplicate guitars actually went for a lot of money recently.
Yeah,
you know, but wow, good times, man. People are you know, and you wonder why the aliens won't come down here because we can't. They're
exactly
close to dissolve.
Exactly.
Hey, just as I wrap this up, this, that, and the other radio show I do on Wednesdays live out of Las Vegas at dirtyradio.fm. And Alex Kane, I'm putting you on the spot right now to be a future guest on any Wednesday, 2 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Will you accept?
I would do it just to talk to you, so of course.
Okay, all right, awesome.
Straight up. No, I love you, man. This guy, me and him, we go so far back, and you know, we've had our moments and stuff, and we talked through it. And I remember one night that I was way out of line, and you pulled me up, and I thought about it, and I'm like, well, I don't share the same depth of emotion about it, but I see what you're saying, and I respected you for expressing that, and I fucking love you, so it goes without saying. Absolutely, of
I
course.
think I actually no, I know you're trying to get out of here, Izzy. I'm so sorry, but
All right, let me
think I was
pause the
crying.
outro.
I was crying. There's no crying in rock and roll, but I was crying because I was hurt by something that Alex Kane did, and we talked about it. We figured it out, and I go, maybe I shouldn't have cried, and Alex goes, maybe I shouldn't have made you cry, and here we are.
Well, I mean, I didn't make him cry. I came in like a douchebag, you know, and I punched him in the gut too, just to make sure he would cry. So at least I can admit it, and we talked about it. And he would, because he can kick my ass. Obviously, I had to wait till he was asleep, but you know, whatever. I got my chops in.
With that being said,
but yes,
Blizzard of Oz,
absolutely.
the winner. Blizzard of Oz.
All right. Blizzard is the winner. See you guys next week. Alex Kane, Troy Patrick Farrell, Luis Villegas, Rayen Belcher. Thank you guys so much for popping in. You're always welcome. Just don't even have to ask. Say, Izzy, I'm coming on this show. Next week will be either a Minnesota Sports Summit or Vinny Torridge or both. Who knows? We'll see what happens. At the Izzy Presley all the way across board, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. PayPal, Izzy Presley at yahoo.com. And you know all the shit. Buy t-shirts. I love you guys. My name is Izzy Presley. This has been another fucking podcast. Don't forget what
Can we do like the Carol Burnett show?
Hold on. What I lack in talent, I make up for it.
Like Carol Burnett.